Yes? Okay, cool. All right. So, let me present. Okay, can you guys see my screen? Someone needs to say something because I
No, we can't
can't
see your
We
screen.
cannot see your
No.
screen, Maddie.
Oh, you can't see me. Okay, great, great. Then I will just make, oh, right, I didn't hit screen share yet. Hang on.
Vem cá ver a apresentação.
Okay, now can you see my screen?
Now we're good.
Okay, great. My project is called Money Moves, as in Cardi B in Bodak Yellow makes money moves. My parents won't get that reference. So what is this? Well, I decided to tackle the problem of personal finance. This is something that I'm particularly interested in myself because personal finance, well, okay, let me take a step back. What is so hard about personal finance? The answer is everything is so hard about personal finance. Unless you're someone who particularly geeks out on this stuff and you come by it naturally, it is a real struggle. It is a struggle to learn about it because it's dry and uninteresting and stressful. But it's even a bigger struggle to implement it. And before you even implement it, you need to know what to do. And it seems like there's so many things you should be doing. There's 401ks and there's IRAs and there's emergency funds and there's savings and there's investments and stocks and bonds and different portfolios and then there's debt. And it's just all incredibly overwhelming. And so why did I take this on? Well, it was actually a New Year's resolution. I'm someone who was completely clueless about personal finance. And one year, I just decided, okay, you know what? I am going to crack this nut. I'm going to figure it out. And I did a complete 180 and totally geeked out on personal finance. And I feel like I have all this knowledge, and but I'm still surrounded by really smart, wonderful friends of mine who are totally clueless about this stuff. And it's just a shame because it's something that's really hard and really important. And so I wanted to figure out if I could try to make a difference. And so what was my inspiration? Well, the thing about personal finance is you have to learn about it. And to learn about it, often you have to read a book. And who wants to read a book about personal finance? The answer is nobody. The thing is, when you read a book about personal finance, you have to go through and remember, okay, wait, this applies to me, so I should remember to do that. This thing that doesn't apply to me, but this thing does apply to me. Wait, am I saving for college? No, I already did college. Am I saving for kids? No, I don't have kids, but I do want to buy a house. So you have to remember all that. And the brilliance of Choose Your Own Adventure books, which I read as a kid, is that you decide in the moment. They're interactive. It's like the beginning of interactivity is Choose Your Own Adventure books, at least in my experience. So I wanted to see if I could apply that format to personal finance. So what was the process? Well, what I wanted to do was I wanted to create an app that you go through and it keeps asking you questions and you answer based on those questions. And then it gives you priorities and it tells you what you should be doing and how and what it means and why you should do it, like who, what, where, why, and how, I think, for each one. And so I started off with an even bigger flow chart than this, and it was totally intimidating. I didn't know how I was going to do it. And so I broke it down. This is the smaller, reduced flow chart. And let's see. The technologies I used on the back end were Rails, which is a framework for the back end, Active Record, which is, I don't even know what you call Active Record, but it's a important thing. And SQLite is a database on the front end. Everything was written in JavaScript, particularly in the React framework, and all the CSS styling was done with Bootstrap. Thank you, Facebook, for Bootstrap. So let's get to the demo. All right, here we go. Okay, so it's called Money Moves. Here we are, and you land on the screen and it prompts you to start going. So what money moves should you be making? Let's go. So the first question asks you is, how much money do you have every month to put towards your goals? So let's just come up with some numbers here. And it tells you how much leftover money you have to apply to your goals. This might be optimistic, but you go forward and then it starts peppering you with questions. So does your employer offer a 401k plan? Yes. The employer match is 3%, and I'm contributing 6%, 7%. And then, do you have any credit card debt? Yeah, I have $200 on one card, and I have $60 on another card. And so then it tells you your next priority: pay off your credit cards. And this, like, if I went back and I didn't have any credit card debt, then it would, oh, well, I have to go back an extra step. Do you have any credit card debt? No, I don't. Then, oh, wait, that's not good. Do you have any credit card debt? Well, let's just go back here and say we do have credit card debt and proceed. Right. Well, anyways, it gives you a different answer depending on how all that goes. And then it brings you to the next goal that you should wait. I think I'm logged in. I think I need to log out. Okay, let me start over and put in figures. There we go. And I'm gonna skip this for now. And so based on your answers, it tells you what you should do. Like, my next priority, because I don't have a 401k or credit card debt, is to max out a Roth IRA. And so I go forward, and it tells me what's great about a Roth IRA. And then it wants to know various information about me. Am I single? No. Will I be filing my taxes jointly? Yes. Will my modified adjusted gross income be less than 193,000? Yes. Will I have any earned income? Sure. Am I greater than 50? Yes. And so the reason it needs to be like that, you saw that flow chart before, it's incredibly complex to figure out what these things, how these, what you're allowed to contribute at what age, and there are all these different factors. So I try to break it down. So your priority is to max out your Roth IRA, and I tell you what it is, why you should do it, where you should do it, and how you should do it. And then you continue. And then it asks further questions. So are you maxing out your 401k? Let's say no. Okay, that should be your next priority after that. What, where, why, and how. And continuing until you get to the end, and it says, all right, you've got your marching orders. Oh, and you can save the work that you've done. I can put it in afterwards. Here, I'll put in a new password. And what's the reason I did it that way is that typically you log in at the beginning of a program, but I wanted to provide value immediately when someone came to my website. So I made it so that you could log in at any point, which was incredibly hard and added like days to this project. And I mean, it was hard for me, but I wanted you to be able to save your work later on. So you could like log out and then you could log back in as that person, and you know what your marching orders are. And so, am I over time? I wasn't timing myself, or can I do any more talking? Oh, because I have future stuff to do. No one's telling me. All right, well,
Keep going.
next steps. Okay, cool. All right, so my next step, how do I play that? Oh, there's really not much to see here. So my next step is that I want to go back to actually my flow chart, and there, I want to add tooltips for everything that you don't understand, like what the modified adjusted gross income is. And there are some screens where I take you to a chart because I didn't have time to build in the math, but I want to put in so much math in this project so that it actually tells you what money you should spend every month on what goal, and actually break it down by paycheck. So for example, if your priority that we gave you is to pay off your credit cards, it will tell you which credit card to pay off, in what order, by how much, by what date you will be done, and what your priority will be after that. So that's originally what I wanted to do, but it was just a little bit more than I was able to do. You can see I had to color code things according to what your situation was and what the factors were and where you would end up. So the logic is just really complicated in this thing, but that is that's my project, and I'm really happy with where it ended up. So thank you for your time. And does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, I'd love to ask. How, like, just on like a simple scale, how would you describe like the process for making that flow chart work? Because I'm still trying to like figure out how I would have started that.
The process for making, well, I did a million revisions on it, really. It's just like going over and over and over again. I think what I had to do, let's see if I can share my screen again. Something that also helped was um, I I wrote out all the factors. Like I only figured this out last night. Actually, was what are all the factors that are involved? Debt or no, 401k or no. Uh, do you have an earned income this year? What is your age? What is your filing status? And then based on all those factors, what do you need, like what do you need to do? So it took just a lot of revisions and a lot of color coding, and just re-dragging these arrows around. It was just trial and error, really, to get it going. And I wish it would be very satisfying if the front end communicated this level of complexity, but that would actually just be for my own glory because I want it to look easy for people. But I want you guys to know how hard I worked.
So like, how many like conditionals and like switch statements do you end up needing for this? Because it seems like you'd have a, like a remarkable amount of like just like if this then do that, if this then do that. If,
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's see if I did. I ideally there would be a lot more switch statements. So here's just one example. Let me close this out. So make determination is this function, and so if case is no 401k and debt is tiny. So here's what the headline is. Here's what the advice is, and here's what the next step will be. And then here's another example. Case, you have no 401k and your debt is big. And so here's the headline, the advice, and the next step, and so on and so forth. And I built this early on, and I wanted the whole app to be like this. But as it came down to like this morning at 1:30, I just realized I had to bang this stuff out. So there's a lot less switch statements, and there's more. Let me just show you. Look at this. These are my steps. See this right here? Wait, here. Right here are my steps. So these are all different cards. So for example, look at Roth. Roth intro, Roth married jointly 50 question, Roth married jointly income question, Roth married jointly max question, min question, over determination, married jointly question. So it's just bananas, the amount of work that I had to do for this. But if this were all optimized using switch statements like this and logic, it'd probably be half the amount.
Awesome.
Wow.
Yeah. Couple comments, Maddie. First off, flowchart is beautiful. Looks great. Love seeing like thought out plans and that kind of work done. Second comment, don't say that something is hard for you. You did it. You made it work. Own that. That's hard for anybody to do. That's hard logic to make it save the progress you should be on the page where you should be as killer. You want to be able to talk about that. I guess my only question really is, what's your proudest piece of code from this application?
Ooh, that's a really good question. Let's see, I thought about this earlier. Oh, this isn't really that impressive, but it like worked the first time that I did it. So I was really, really happy about that. It is, I wrote a method so that, I think it's in here, so that as you proceed from step to step, it starts building a path of your history. It's done with an array, so nothing exotic, but it was one of those things. Where is it? Not sure where it is, but it's one of those things that oh wait, I think it's in master form, top nav step container. It's in here. Handle next step. Maybe this is it. It's so simple, but it builds this history of every step that you were on. And as I say, it like worked the first time that I tried it, and so I was so happy when that worked. It just felt like magic to like go forward and back. And the thing for viewers out there today is that you're going to see stuff that looks like, oh yeah, I've been to a million websites that where you can go forward and back. But like we had to learn from scratch how to do that and program it. And so it's like impressive to ourselves. Any other
Awesome,
questions?
awesome.
Yeah, oof, look at all these components, so many components. Oof, look at that.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you, Maddie. Big claps, snaps. I think up next we have Jesse.
All right. So, can everybody see this okay?
Yeah, you're good.
Cool. All right. So, my app is called Blow It Up, and it's pretty much it's like an app that will show you different glass blowers that are in your area. And it will give you their location and it'll show you some of their works, and you can favorite them, and then they'll show up on your favorites list on your homepage. And I was actually inspired to build this. I was watching this show. Um, it's on Netflix, and for some reason I can't remember the name right now, but it's like just shows you glass blowers and like their process. It's like a competition show for glass blowers. And I just never knew what the process was. I'd always been like very interested in glass blowing, but I just never knew the process. And it's very, very cool. And I just like instantly wanted to like know about glass blowers and just know more about them and like where are the ones in my area. And so, yeah, that's what kind of led to this. Without further ado, I'm just gonna sign someone up. And then you, after the initial login page, there's a page to fill in the rest of your information. I'm gonna sign up somebody named Jesse Vaughn. It's not me though. There we go. And here we go. So yeah, this is this guy named Jesse Vaughn. He's this director. So that's that guy. And then this is your home page. So once you get here, it gives you a little card of your image URL that you put in there, your name and your bio. And you can update this information as well. However, if you choose to not, then it'll just stay the same. And then you can look at the glass blowers around me right now. And these are just hard coded in. I plan for the future for that glass blowers would be able to sign into the account as users themselves. And that's what will populate this page. And you can check them out. Check out their blows. And this guy has, that's pretty nice. I like the llama. And then you can also check out their blow location, which if you click on the thing, this guy is in Berkeley there. And I'm using the Google Maps API to render that. And then if you go back home, you'll see the ones that you favorited show up on this side right there. And yeah, that's pretty much the basis of the app. You can, go around and favorite as many things and then check them out to see where they're at, and maybe give them a a ring or stop by them and, you know, see if they can make something for you. And my plans for the future, like I said, for this are one, to build out the functionality. I wrote the basis for the code, but I just couldn't figure out everything that I needed to make it fully usable by the time that the project was ending. But I want to that glassblowers can sign up and that they can populate this area, so that you can talk to, so that client users can message glassblower users, and they can talk through the app about like pricing for their pieces, as well as making custom pieces. And yeah, does anyone have any questions?
Woo! Nice work. How did you come up with the name?
I was just, you know, it was just thinking over and over, and I was trying to make it sound like not dirty, you know? And you know, and then I was like thinking about like the way that you blow glass. It's like, you know, the glass is like heated, and then they'll be blowing it, and then it starts to expand and whatnot. So that's just like, yeah, that's kind of how that came. Yeah. Anything else?
What was your favorite blow?
My favorite blow on this, that's a good one. It is probably, no, it's not on this page. Yeah, it's the mezcal bottle. I love mezcal.
I love it.
So, and it looks dope. So, yeah.
How's using the API? I like that you got the location set up.
Yeah, the Google Maps API was it was surprisingly quite easy to use. I found a very nice blog about how to use the Google Maps API, and pretty much, yeah, you just import Google Map and with a few other things from React Google Maps, and then you can render the Google Map, the marker, the info window, and then the mapper right here.
That's awesome. Good job.
Thank you.
All right, awesome work, Jesse.
No problem.
Another round of snaps, claps in the quiet. Up next, we have Will G.
Hey guys, how's it going? Let's see, share my screen here. Okay, so my project, I don't have a fancy chart like Maddie did. That was awesome. But I've always been into motorcycles, and I decided to make a project about motorcycle clubs. These 3 clubs, well, they're made up clubs right now, but at the end of the I want to continue working on this project. I want to be able to have actual clubs in here, and you're able to join the club. Once you come into this website, you can check out the homepage. The about will tell you the 3 clubs that I have in here at the moment. And it was pretty cool because these are actual clubs that exist. I made up the names and went online, and I found names to match the clubs. It was pretty cool. So this is actual information about them. You could check out bikes that belong to the clubs, or to the people in the clubs. And yeah, let's get into this. Let's sign somebody up. Let's do Mondo, like Mandalorian. Let's say he belongs to the East Bay Bikes. Sign up. So now Mondo is up here. You can see a meets button show up here. And you have his profile. At the moment, he just signed up, so there's nothing in his profile, just the club picture that he belongs to. Here on the side, we have upcoming meets and where. If you're in those meets and you need a bike repair shop, I have a Google Maps that comes up here. You can click on these little markers and it'll give you the information of where the shop is, their phone number, and these are actual shops around the area. Let's see, we go to meets. I have another Google map where the meets are gonna take place, or where they've taken place before. And then here I have all the past meets, and every one of these meets has pictures from those past meets. You can click on any single one of these and you'll have pictures from those meets, and they all have different pictures. Let's see, and go to cities. These are the cities. If you liked any of the cities, if you see here, I have my favorites. It's empty at the moment, but if you go to your cities, you can like and unlike any of these cities, your favorites, and they appear here with the city name and the information of that city. Let's see, and on your profile, you could also update your profile. Let's see. Change this guy's password. Update. And now you see everything's updated. His name is now Mando with 3 O's. Let's see what else. If you log out, let's see. Log out, try to log back in. Now this information should be changed. So now you get a incorrect username and password. And yeah, that's about it for my app. Some add-ons I want to implement in the future. I got this idea from my daughter. She said, "Hey Dad, why don't you have them or the users be able to chat with one another, you know?" So that's a cool idea that I want to implement. Maybe sharing photos and liking their photos, you know, that's another cool feature I'm going to try to implement this coming week. Let's see, and this was built with React, Rails in the back end, and some JavaScript. And I have some hooks in there, which I thought was pretty cool because I had never used them before. Yeah, that's it for my project.
How did you get the club icons to like swipe animatedly like that?
That is a React library called Slide. And it's pretty easy to use. And it also involves the fadeaway one. So it's pretty much the same library. You just import Slide for the slider one and import fade for the other one.
Yay.
Awesome work. I like the different uses of the Google Maps way that popped out the smaller map and the one window in the bottom of the screen. Then when you go to a different tab, giving you a larger map.
I actually got that done this morning.
Awesome. How are you doing the importing of the photos for each of the different?
For those photos at the moment, I was gonna implement active storage. I just didn't know which way I wanted to go with my app at the moment. So I those are pretty much hard coded. I have them in the front end. I'm just importing them into the front end.
Cool. Nothing wrong with that. Awesome. All right. Great work, Will. Next up, we have Michael.
Okay. Oh man. My heart's beating so fast right now, for no reason. But yeah, okay. So here is my app. I am doing a React Native application, which is a mobile application, and I named it the Glister app. It's basically like it says right here. It's a glorified lister app. So the idea behind this project was like for me personally, whenever I'm watching like TV shows or movies or stuff like that, if I end up watching like multiple different shows, like if I'm watching like Game of Thrones or like The Big Bang Theory or something like that, I can't ever keep track of what episode I am and what season I am on for each of those like shows. So I wanted some way to either keep track of that history and be able to like kind of store that information somewhere, so I don't have to like have like a file somewhere that I just manually typing all that information in stuff. Let's see. Some of the stuff that I have incorporated, like the technologies that I've been using in this app, I'm using React Native. I'm using the Expo version. So there's two different ways that you can implement React Native applications. There's three, but the two main ones are either using Expo, which is a more simplified JavaScript and TypeScript only coding language, like CLI. And then there's the just pure React Native that you can use like Android and iOS languages as well as using JavaScript to write that. So I went the easier way with Expo because it's easier to initialize your project. It's a little bit more heavy and like bulky in size, but overall, it's a lot easier to kind of learn. It's more of a basic React Native implementation. And then, yep, I use Redux, React Navigation, async storage, Axios, like hooks, and then polymorphic associations, which is a lot of new things that I didn't think that they'd add up, but like it's just a lot of new stuff that ended up going into this project. Okay, yeah, and then so let me demo it. So let me first refresh my app. So I have it set up so that when you first go into the app, you have some animations. You saw some like the words bounce, and then so you click into getting started, and that'll send you to the login screen. If you're not logged, or if you're logged in, you won't ever see this page. It'll just redirect you to your home page. But if you log in here, I'm using my admin account because that's very professional and stuff. So I'm gonna log in with my admin, very secure password, and then I go to my home page. But say you don't have an account, you can sign out, or not sign up, but you can go to click sign up instead, and then you can create an account. So let's create an account that's let's say admin 2. Yeah. And oops. Yeah, there's for some reason there's oh my gosh. Okay, you know what? I don't know what the problem is with that, but like sometimes it gets stuck if I try to use like my keyboard to tab into that spot. So I probably won't tab into it next time. Admin 2, and then right here I also have like this kind of verification thing that if your password and password confirmation do not match, then it'll give you a warning until they match, and then you can check by showing the hidden password and yeah, etc. There's also like this little feather that I've added that if you start or if your field is blank, if you start typing in, it'll notify that there's some content inside of it. So yeah, so let's do admin 2, and then admin oops. Oh, there's also a verification check to make sure that you can't use the same email twice. So I already used admin@admin.com, so I won't do that. And then there's also like a place for a picture URL. Let's just do hello because I don't have a URL. Yeah, can't do right now. So now if I log into admin 2, I can go into my account. And since I don't have anything in my watch list, currently watching list, or my favorites, there's nothing going to be rendered. So not just so I can have some data in, I'm gonna sign out and go to the main admin account. Okay, let's go to the admin, login. Okay, so now from here, you have multiple options. So if you, we're assuming that you're starting fresh, we are gonna go to the search bar. And then if you wanna search a movie, let's go for the Lord of the Rings. So if you search this, you could also see sorry, I'm talking too much, but like you search for the Lord of the Rings and you get the Lord of the Rings results. There's also a thing like you'd see right here that you could toggle on if you want to search for movies or if you want to search for TV shows. So if you do that, then so let's say you want to change it and then you want to search for the Big Bang Theory. It'll clear your previous search results and then it'll render results about the Big Bang Theory. And there's only 2 results, so it'll do that. But then let's go back so we can search for Superman. Okay, and then right here you only get 10 results. So once you keep on sliding, you can slide to the very end. Once I get to the very end, you can see there's no more results. You can click on the more results. It'll render more results for you.
Ooh.
And yeah. And then for example wise, so if there's aren't any more results, this more results button will also disappear. So I don't want to see how many Superman stuff there are, so we're not going to test that out. But as you saw for the Big Bang Theory one, the Big Bang Theory, if you search for that, I guess yes, but there's aren't going to be any results, any more results. But yeah, I think for this one, it's kind of, yeah, it does work, but yeah, for some reason it's not working. Okay, and then yeah, so if you want to go and edit your user information, you can do that here as well. It's the admin account, so I don't really want to mess with anything. So I'm gonna do that. You could also delete the user, so we'll go to go do that real quick for the admin too, because I should be the only admin. Okay, let's log in. Let's go to the profile. Then let's delete the user. Once you delete the user, it'll reset everything in your state, and then it'll send you back to the home page. So if I try to log into the admin 2 again, it won't work. Yeah, I should have an alert coming up, but you can see in here that there's an error that pops up that there's incorrect name or password that says, that's basically telling you that there's no admin 2 in the database. Okay, and then that's basically it. There is one more thing that I added with this navigation thing. So it'll render your information here. And then if you want to navigate to your profile from here, you can do that as well. So you can go to your profile, you can open up your window, you could go home. And yeah, that's basically my app. There are a lot of other things that I'm still, oh, sorry, there's more stuff, I forgot. So now, let's go back to the movie search, the movie, or Superman. Okay, so now if you click on a movie, how do you add it to your movies list? So once you click on the movie, it'll render another card that just shows some basic information about the movie. And then you could click on it and it'll add the card to your list. It'll give you like a small alert. And then if you go back to your home, it's loading a little bit because it's a little bit slow and it's doing a lot of asynchronous calls. But then if you go to the very end, it'll add Batman's to your movies. And then if you click on your movie from here, it'll open a similar but different screen that allows you to either add this movie to your favorites, add it to your currently watching list, and then this function isn't completely created yet, but I wanted to be able to add notes to a certain specific movie that if you wanted to put in notes like put any notes about the movie or the show that you're watching, you can do that. And then so if I click on this, it says it'll change and it'll kind of render. There is one small thing that it's a bug that I need to just do to refactor. But if you go back and we scroll down to the favorites, it is now in there as well. Okay, same thing for, and then now it's kind of, it is changed to remove from favorites. Yeah. And that's my app. Yeah, and yeah, there are a lot of like things that I want to add. As you saw here, there's like a dark theme that I want to be able to toggle. There's multiple different APIs. I want to be able to add like just normal lists, be able to look up books and stuff to add to your list, and just a lot of other things. How much time do I have? I'm probably running pretty low, huh?
Yeah, maybe a minute.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Do you guys have any questions, or do you guys want to see any of the code that I wrote?
I got a question.
Yeah.
How hard was the transition going from React to learning React Native as you did?
Yeah, like I only got 2 hours of sleep last night, and I barely got to the point, or like I guess 3 hours of sleep, but like I barely got to the point where I had this kind of like navigation screen set up, and then being able to click on it, and then being able to add and remove. I got that working maybe a few hours ago. It's not like a steep learning curve, but if you look on my like all the node modules that I added, from your base application, you only start off with these 5 basic things. Everything else, there are node modules that you have to like look up for the documentation, how I have some animations, how I have this these carousels, like these sliding things, are all extra stuff that I ended up having to add. The documentation is pretty good though, so it's like it's not hard, but it's just a lot of stuff to do in the amount of time that I ended up having. Without like, and like plus like finding like bugs and stuff like that, like you get stuck at like random spots, and yeah, for specific problems it's kind of hard to like look up like what went wrong and stuff. Yeah, but yeah.
Oh, it's
I have a question.
awesome.
Yeah, go for it.
Are we gonna see your app on the App Store?
Oh man, maybe if it's complete. Like, yeah, and like the cool thing about Expo and stuff like that, like you can deploy your apps to the App Store. It is like a pretty long process, and like you got to get like approved for each store, like the Apple Store and like the Google Play Store and like whatever the other stores are. But like, yeah, it is possible. But like maybe if I clean everything up and like make everything perfect, then I'll deploy it. But probably that won't be for a while.
Yeah, looks great. All right. Next.
Phone, Michael? Oh, sorry.
You're good. Go ahead, Manny.
I was just wondering if it runs on your, like, can you get it running on your own phone?
Oh yeah. So like the cool thing with Expo is they have an application. So here I'll share my screen one more time, and just show you guys kind of a brief thing. So there's an application called like I think if you just look up Expo, or for some reason I can't close my. Oh. Okay, so if I start my app using Yarn Start, so it gives you a QR code, and then if you take a picture of this QR code on the app on your phone, it'll open that app on your phone. So yeah, it gives me a QR code. It also allows you to open it on an iOS emulator, Android emulator, or even run it on the web if you want. That's the cool thing about, yeah.
I think you're sharing a different monitor.
Oh, oops. There, yeah, so like right here. So you can see a big QR code that if you just scan this on your phone, you can open it on your phone. And then, yeah, you can open it on an Android emulator, iOS emulator, or run it on the web. Yeah, and I can send a link.
I knew they used the QR codes.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well done.
Awesome work. All right, up next we have Amanda.
Thanks, guys. Bear with me. I don't know if you see me. I've been like really nervous here. All right, cool. Let me just do something really fast to help everybody out. So my app, it's called exploretravel.tips. I shared the link with everybody on the chat. So if y'all want to access it and see it, go right ahead. So the idea of the project is that, well, we spent a year in quarantine without really going anywhere. So my partner and I were like sitting on the couch one day and we're like, okay, where are we gonna go first as soon as like this is over? And we kind of wanted like a place to like look for like suggestions that wasn't like so touristy. So the app is kind of like that. You get to add suggestions that like are like less travel, less touristy. And this version kind of came from like TripAdvisor, and like it works a little bit like Reddit, but not really. It just kind of came from that. Now I'm gonna share my screen. Hold on. Cool. Let me move you guys here. All right, so here we go. Ta-da! This is it. You guys seeing it? Cool, awesome. Okay, so the way that it works is that, for example, it gives you like a brief explanation of how it works, and you can go ahead and search for these suggestions by city name. So I'm gonna do New York because I know there's like tons of suggestions there. The way that it's kind of organized is by like the highest voted ones get placed first, and you can kind of just navigate because it's 5 at a time kind of show. If you try to comment in one of these without actually vote up, so to speak, if you try to vote up without being logged in or register, you're going to get this notification letting you know they need to log in or register. But for now, if you want to just click on the title, it takes you to like the display page where it just shows the location of it and like a brief description of what it is or why it's worth your time. So we're going to click to vote again, and we're going to register. I was doing this earlier. I'm going to name somebody Bob. I don't know anybody named Bob. And they're going to be nicknamed Bobby. And Bobby has a Gmail. Good for you, Bobby. Hold up. Very complex passwords. All right, so we're registering. You're taken back to the homepage. And from here, we're going to go ahead and search New York again. Now, if you try to vote up, you notice that like it would turn blue, and then you get like an extra voted up. On the menu on the top right corner, you have extra options now. You have a little heart, which is pretty much just going to display all your favorite ones. You're going to have a settings page. Let's say we're going to update the user. So Bobby's not spelled like this. It's going to be Bobby. Or actually, I think it's like double B. Cool. There you go. If you want to try to use like an existing username, it's going to give you like an error message. Be like, nope, can't do that. Same thing for the email. Same thing that happens on the, I wrote booby. Same thing happens on the register page. You just, I just prefer to show it in one place. So let's say I want to use an email. That's mine, like that one. Although it's going to change the name at the top. All right, Bob. Cool. Mayor's email is already taken. So let's go back to Bobby's email. Bobby, my God. I got problems. Okay. Bobby, Gmail. Just the nerves, guys. Cool. All right, Bobby's back. Password, same thing. You want to change your password. All you have to do is confirm your current password. What I wanted to implement here, which you'll see right away, is kind of like when you're creating a password, obviously you should know how many characters you need. Wasn't able to get to that yet, but if you do write it incorrectly or doesn't meet the standards, it will give you like a, oh, just kidding. I actually met the standards. Bummer. Let's try it again. There you go. Yeah. Okay, it's supposed to pop up and tell you that you, sorry, glitch, that you have to like add over 6 characters and a uppercase and lowercase as well. You can come here and opt to delete the user, and you can click, I'm sure it takes you back to the homepage, or you can say no. I'm gonna say no because what I wanna do is add a suggestion right now. So I'm gonna go to the little light bulb, and we're gonna pick, we're gonna pick United States. We're gonna add something to New York again because I like New York. And we're gonna add the Highline in New York. Cool. And then we're gonna say it's a great place to people watch. It is. It's awesome. The little, for everybody that knows me, I did a character count. I'm really proud of it. If you do get to below that amount, it does, the text kind of turns red. And then you get a notification saying, hey, your description's a little bit too long. Go ahead and make that a little smaller. Nobody's going to read all that. And then you can go ahead and submit it. When you submit it, you're taken to the display page again. When I did this, I didn't want to automatically add a place where the place was like liked or voted up. Because I don't know, maybe you want to let people know that, hey, you really shouldn't be visiting this place. I think it sucks. So when you do, you get to the suggestion page, you can go ahead and vote it up. There you go. And it's going to show up on your display page. Notice that we added the highline. I'm going to go ahead and delete this user. Bye-bye, Bobby or Booby. And then we're going to log into my account. When you log into my account, hello, Amanda, thank you. I'm going to go ahead and search for New York again. Promise there's more suggestions I'll show you in a second. I just focus on New York. And if you go at the very end, whoops, there you go. At the very end here, you see that even though I deleted Bobby, you can still see Bobby's suggestions for the highline. So we're going to go ahead and vote it up. And then I have quite a few places liked, also ordered by number of, actually, no, not on the favorites. It is ordered by, at the very bottom, this is something that I want to improve. I want to actually revert the order. I want to be like the latest place that you liked. I want to be at the top, but right now it's at the bottom. And pretty much it's just like a scroll. You can just see everything that you liked. And these are places like kind of like all over. I kind of asked some friends to log in and add places that they like. So for example, I have a friend right now in Berlin. I went ahead and I asked him to add a suggestion. So he added this park and then he told me anything that's worth doing it. Let me see, hold up. Oh, maybe so now. Cool. And that's kind of it for the app for now. I'm gonna log out because I don't want to delete my account. I really like the places that I have. Let me see if I went over all. Yeah, I did. Cool. I'm gonna log out, and then the title just takes you to the same homepage. This project started with this model. That's how it all started. That's the first thing I came up with, which is funny because Rails is something I still struggle with. But I came up with the models, the tools that I use. I did not use Redux. I actually use MobX. So I spent a few days watching numerous videos on YouTube learning MobX. Not as complicated as you think, but I'm not gonna lie to you, I can't give you a lecture on it right now. I also use quite a lot of jams on the back end, like the Will Paginate, which helps me with the navigating the pages in the front end. And then I got all the countries from this jam called Countries as well. Cool. If I had to talk about things that I still want to do, I served this article here, is because the search right now, you can only do it by cities. I kind of want to implement like this full text search, meaning like you type drinks. Eventually it's going to have tags too. Whenever you create a suggestion, you can like, hey, this is a sightseeing place. This is a restaurant, whatever. I want users to be able to like search by city and by tags, or just by literally typing drinks and then everything coming up for that city. So that's where I want to go with that project. I use Notion to keep organized with everything that I want to do. And you probably will appreciate how the completed, it's very long. It's very satisfying to move things to the column. If I had to talk about a code, hold up, I'm going to bring that up right here. All of you guys are located right on top of, there you go, perfect. Okay, cool. The suggestion form, it was a component that definitely took kind of like the longest. I was using the Google Maps JavaScript library to kind of like get, so the first input, it really only just returns cities. The secondary like input where you're typing a place, it gives you both. So like kind of like organizing that was kind of tricky. This also gets the countries from the jam on the back end. And then it also handles like sending back all the inputs to the database. So it's kind of like, it was like a little complex component. The whole app is kind of centered on this really. And then the cool thing that I got to do, which unfortunately I don't think I got to show it, but when you like a place, it doesn't automatically, like if let's say there are two, both of them are like at 3 votes, it does not automatically like put the other one on top. So I used a Heroku scheduler. What I did, I created like an SQL on Rails here that sums up those votes. And pretty much I tell Heroku to be like, hey, can you, as you can see it right here, can you just run this command every like 10 minutes, and then it will like update the order of the votes. I was gonna show that on the demo. I unfortunately forgot, I apologize. But it does do that, and it's really cool. It runs every 10 minutes. Other than that, I can just run this command that you can see it at the very bottom, and it would do it automatically. I did deploy the front end with these guys. I use the Cloudflare pages. They're on beta. I think you can just request access. And then the backend, obviously, as you can see, it went to Heroku. And then that's how I got this little app with this cute domain. I'm hoping that you guys will like it and add some suggestions so we can get out of quarantine and see some fun places. Oh yeah, any questions?
Woo!
Can you, I think you like touched on this, but I don't think I really saw it too well. What part of your like code is handling the autocomplete when you're like typing in like a location? Can you show that really quick?
Yeah, hold up.
Cool.
Share. Suggestions form. I think it's pretty much part of the library. So because of the fact that I'm just getting the cities on the first one, you're talking about the location, right? Alex?
Yeah. Sorry, I muted myself too.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, it pretty much, I think no other setup was done besides just this of actually adding a listener. And it came from like, it's a method built in from the library. So I think that's what completes it. No other code was done for that.
That's awesome though. It just looks really, really good in real time.
Thanks. And then also, sorry, there's gonna be console errors. I'm really proud of this. I forgot to remove something, but I tried my very hardest to make this app as responsive as I possibly could on like every single, okay, who didn't look at K-pop, every single kind of device that I can think of. So it's not a mobile, like it's not an app, but it's pretty responsive on mobile. I'm proud of that too.
Nice. I forgot to use the stylet.
What?
What did you use the stylet? I missed it.
No, I didn't use, I just used basics, lots of CSS, really. I just made sure that whatever I was using, I Bootstrap as well, was going to fit on any kind of mobile.
Awesome.
How difficult was
Awesome.
deployment?
Heroku was a little bit difficult because I have had constant problems with the version of Rails that, Ruby that I'm running. So that gave me a lot of problems. The front end with like Cloudflare pages, it wasn't that bad. And then it was just kind of like connecting the domain that was a little confusing. But Heroku gave me a little problem, problems because of Rails. But I can help you.
Yay.
Just dropped a link. There's a nice website called amiresponsive.is that lets you drop the URL to whatever website you're using, and you can check it on like tons of different screens at once. I mean, they're all little in your browser, but it's a nice little thing. But yeah, app looks great. Great work. Do you have an admin user that you're planning to send out for people that look at your application or look at your resume to be able to see the data in there? I mean, I guess anybody that makes an account can see that data, right? Because
yeah, pretty much.
it's public, so awesome. Great work. All right, up next we have Kevin.
All righty, let's do it. All right, can everybody see? Let me see, make sure I can see you.
Yep.
All right, welcome to my app. It's called Desert Island, and I'll go into all the details that you may want. So first of all, what is this project about? This is a bread and butter recipe app designed to let users browse, search for, and save recipes that they like. So you might be asking, why did you make this? This has definitely been done, and it certainly has by many talented developers. But one thing, sort of the unique hook into my app that they don't recognize came to me when I was talking with my sister. My older sister has type 1 diabetes. She just got diagnosed like 2 years ago, maybe, which is rare. So I've been able to kind of see her deal with it over time and learned a lot about the struggles kind of day to day of keeping the equilibrium, keeping your blood sugar at a certain level that people with diabetes have. So she was saying she would really appreciate a recipe app that would give useful information for diabetics, particularly useful information. So I sort of took that idea and I ran with it. So that was the central problem I was trying to address with my app, but while also making a clean looking or cleanish looking recipe site. I didn't build this with any industries in mind or anything like that. Instead, my goal was just to use everything we learned over the course of the class, while also I ended up incorporating a bunch of new technologies that I didn't know. So like Redux, I had got a lot more hands-on experience working with an API, Bootstrap, React Bootstrap, and a couple other things that I used when I ran into some problems. So I learned a ton by doing this, and I'm really happy about that. So I'll go into a little bit of the wireframe beforehand. So these were my model ideas before I started. Actually, I didn't have the ingredient one. I had to kind of adapt over time. So I ended up getting this whole section completed, but I did not end up getting my likes done. So there's a user, comments, favorites, recipes, of course, which have ingredients. And one interesting challenge that I ran into on my back end was having two many-to-many relationships between user and recipe. And so that I had to adapt these join tables to incorporate the fact that a user.recipes, for example, in Rails, it doesn't know which one to output. So I had to adapt that a little bit, and I can show you. It's just like 2 words of code. But yeah, thanks to Emily for helping me figure that out, because that might have been a big problem if I didn't catch on right at the beginning. So that said, might as well do the demo. So here we are. There's classic sign up. Those of you who are not programmers here or didn't go through this bootcamp might be wondering why we're all showing off our ability to log in and sign up. It's because it's a devil. It's a real son of a gun to set up, and we're all very proud and happy when we get it working. So here's mine. I'll stick with Michael's theme from before, do Sauron, still lowercase, and where's my ring? And then this is kind of a unique thing that you won't see. It's a little awkward on the sign up page, but this is where I had space for it. You have an option to choose if you have diabetes or not. And then it'll ask one crucial piece of info, which is your carb to insulin ratio, meaning how many grams of carbs does 1 unit of insulin cover? So let's say 8. And then it'll save that info. So this is the main page. It's pretty sparse, gives you 2 options. You can look for different desserts, or you can see all the recipes in there. One thing I forgot to mention is that all my recipes are desserts. I took a sample of data from a massive API with like hundreds of thousands of recipes. I decided to kind of make it a microcosm and just focus on desserts. So before we go into that, there's also an edit user. It'll take care of that, and then a log out button. So this should all be working. And so let's start by seeing all the recipes. So here are all these recipes I took from an API. I used a lot of their info, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. So it gives you the picture, which has this nice little effect, which was really easy to make, but for some reason gives me so much satisfaction doing that. And then a summary, which all comes from the API. I didn't write any of this. and the styling was actually a little bit of a challenge, which I can get into. Unfortunately, these recommended recipes don't work. I can't do anything about that. That's on their end. And also, unfortunately, some of these are pretty gross looking. So you can go down, you can paginate. Amanda, I had no idea that Rails had a will paginate thing. I had to just do all this by hand. I'm a little salty about that. So you can scroll through, go through different pages, check out the recipes, and let's take a look at a single one. So these cookies, for example. All right, so here's your basic recipe info. I'm not super stoked at how the styling ended up coming out, but I am happy that I got these 3 columns working. So you get your picture, your name, here's the dessert info. All this comes from the API, 8 servings, 30 minutes, bunch of calories, net carbs. This is useful for people with diabetes. And then this was where that, that info came in from the beginning. That I entered in. So the recommended dose of insulin is 9 units, which is gigantic. These are not very diabetic friendly cookies. Generally, most of these desserts are not, but I figure that people with diabetes want to be extra sure they get it right when they're eating tons of carbs. All ingredients and amounts, and then instructions, which these come in different forms, and then comments. So these comments are all randomly generated using like a hipster word generator, which is why they're all bizarre looking. But if say you're really into a comment or really into a recipe, or you just have some notes for other users, you can post. So do that, and we'll see the comment shows up there, which this was a lot of kind of fun to make. It's also where a lot of my future goals are incorporated, showing who made the comment, being able to like comments, showing how many likes a comment has. Those are all steps that if I keep working on this, then I definitely will head in that direction. And then the final thing you can do is you can add a dessert to your favorites. And then you can go check out my favorites and you'll see whatever you put there. So you can save all the recipes you want. And I believe that's about it. Oh yeah, and you can search. So the search is pretty simple. It just covers, it checks to see if whatever you typed matches the name of the recipe. But once you get that, you can look through all the cakes or what have you, and then log out again. So that is the central functionality, the core stuff. I'm really happy with how it turned out. Let's see, some stuff. I already told you the things I kind of want to work on. Something I thought you might think was interesting was the API. I use this API called Spoonacular, which, like I said, have tons and tons of different recipes. So this is the form that my data came in, and then I had to shape it up to make it look the way I wanted to. So this is just 100 of the desserts down here, and I got their IDs. So when I was seeding and getting all my initial recipes, where are you? Nope. Let's see. So I went and got all of those, and then for every single one, I can show you this much more intimidating page. This is a single recipes information, and it's about 3,000 lines of code. It's enormous. And because it's giving all of the nutritional information for every ingredient of the thing. So I had to go through and kind of select very carefully what I wanted. But it actually ended up going really smoothly, and I was really happy with how it went. But yeah, I went from, all this information into well, I can't show you now, but, into these. And so I'm pretty excited about all that. And let's see, I'm probably running on time. So I can end it there. Does anybody have any questions or would like me to talk about any particular things
Ooh, yay! Nice idea.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I think the app looks great. I love the idea of having the little button at sign up to signify whether you have diabetes or not. That is a nice layer of kind of like accessibility and thinking about people when you're building things. So that's an awesome piece to have there.
Thank you.
Have you shown it to your sister yet?
Yep, she approves.
Awesome.
I think you should deploy it.
That'll be the next mountain to climb. I have no idea how to do it.
You save all of those API requests to your database, or are you making a request every time you need that?
I saved them all to my database, but I'd be very interested in future projects to do it kind of the way it's intended, which is through multiple requests. But actually yesterday I had a little panic attack because I like reseeded my database a couple times because something didn't work right. And then it got cut off and was asking me to pay. So I just made a new account and did it that way and it worked. So, but that was, yeah, that was a little scary.
Nice. Yeah, if you go to deploy and you want to keep the data that you already have in your database, you can push up your local Postgres database to Heroku. Awesome work, Kevin. All right, up next, we have Vinny.
All right, thanks, Cody.
Go Vinny.
Ooh, I'm nervous. All right. Oops. So here is my app. It's called Movie Magic. It's kind of based off of a Letterbox type app. Although I've never used Letterbox, actually, I just know the idea behind it. But it's the idea is to keep track of movies you've seen with reviews, and also adding movies to your watch list so you have like a running list of movies. One of the problems that I wanted to solve with this was when I'm looking for a movie on a random night and I'm feeling indecisive, which is most nights, I can spend a long time scrolling and browsing through movies, and I can spend just as much time doing that when I could just be watching something. And I don't know, like that can be a huge waste of time. But that's something I wanted to fix with this app. It didn't really quite get to that feature, but I'll talk a little bit about that later. And yeah, like Kev was saying, I didn't really create this for like a specific industry or anything, but I wanted to use this opportunity to implement everything that I've learned in this program, and especially expand my React knowledge, because I really fell in love with React during phase 4 and wanted to practice it a lot more. And yeah, definitely was a success on that end. So without further ado, let's take a look at the demo. This is our landing page. I'm sharing the right screen, right?
Yeah, we got your login screen here.
Cool. Yeah, so here's my login screen. I already have an account, so I'll go ahead and demo with this account. Uh-oh. All right, we're off to a great start here. Hold on one second. Server's not running, that's why. Okay.
You're great.
So nervous, I forgot to start the server. Okay, and now we should be in business. And when you log in, you're redirected to this browse screen. I got all these seeded movies from the OMDB API. So for now, I just have these 10 movies. You can navigate to any of the movies, and if you want to check out some more information about them. So maybe keep with the theme for today, check out Lord of the Rings. Gives us a little bit of extra data about Lord of the Rings. And here we can leave some reviews for a movie. So yeah, this is one of the best movies. the 21st century. Love it. And then when you submit your review, it gives you a little alert, and your review appears at the bottom of the page, which is awesome. On this My Reviews page, you can keep track of all your reviews for this one user. And so maybe I wasn't super happy with this review. You can go ahead and delete it with a little confirmation message, and it re-renders. Also have this other check that if you try to submit a review without anything in there, you can't submit it. So that's a nice check. Also, if you, I'll come back to that. Another major feature of this app is being able to add movies to your watch list. So right now I have a couple movies on my watch list, and you can remove them from here, or you can add and remove them from your browse screen, which is great. Or you can add and remove them from the movie show page, which was a little bit harder to implement than you would think. Just having these buttons re-render depending on if they're on your watch list or not, that was a big challenge for me. Let's see here. Another one of the major features, I got this to work just yesterday, is just searching for movies into the external API. So maybe I'm looking for The Italian Job, and I get 10 results. The thing about this external API is when you make a search request to it, you don't get the same amount of data back. So that's something I want to work on for the future, is making another fetch request that gets me all the rest of the data, and being able to add and review these movies that I search. Didn't quite have enough time to get to those things, but that's something for the future. Yeah. And so lastly, I have full CRUD on my user, so I can go ahead and edit the profile. I have it set up where it has our current username in here, but maybe I want to change it to Vinny. And if I submit it, lets me know that I was successful, and it brings me back and welcomes me with my new username. And then lastly, I'm going to go ahead, you can log out from the nav bar. I'm going to go ahead and make a new account just to demonstrate that. And if you try to do it without filling out the fields, it'll give you a little message. And now I'm back in. And if I check out another movie that maybe another user looked at or reviewed, I can see that some other users reviewed this, and I can see what other people thought of this movie, so which is pretty cool. And then lastly, you can delete your user. Gives you a confirmation message, and then you're redirected. And if you're logged out or not signed in, you can't access the nav bar at the top, which is great. And yeah, that's pretty much a full demonstration of the app. Some of the technologies I used the Ruby on Rails API and seeded it with the OMDB external API. This was my first time really working with API in this depth. So that was a huge learning experience and really valuable. Worked a lot with React again, and React Bootstrap, which I kind of discovered last project, which was really fun. You can get like a lot of really great boilerplate kind of formatting going. I do kind of wish if I could do this again that I'd done it with more just vanilla CSS, because I kind of just want to expand my skills on that. And it's kind of harder to customize the CSS when you're using React Bootstrap. So that's something I would like to expand on at some point. Some new technologies I used. I was able to use local storage, which I'd never used before because I was having some issues with losing state on refresh, and using React Router a lot. I feel like before this project, we really only created React applications that were single page. So this was kind of an exploration of just routing to different pages and being able to go back a page and forward a page and keep track of that kind of thing. Yeah, like I said, my future developments, I wish I could have organized all of my my movies by genre. That's something I wanted to incorporate. And then the other thing I was talking about solving the issue of browsing for too long, looking for a movie, I wanted to implement like a recommend a random movie button kind of thing that kind of takes a look at the movies you reviewed, what you reviewed them, the movies that are on your watch list, and kind of create an algorithm that takes a look at that kind of stuff and then recommends a random movie for you to start watching. Definitely a little more involved than I anticipated, which feels like a trend throughout this program, but yeah, it's something I want to implement later on. And then with my process with this, I feel like I started with the back end, and I feel like I really didn't touch much back end stuff since phase 2 a few months ago. So that was a big struggle, but I kind of had to relearn some things. And once that was all set up and moving to the front end, I felt a lot more comfortable. And yeah. Serializers were also another big one that I really didn't have much experience with. And that was a big struggle of just getting to certain data when it's nested in other data. And yeah, that was tricky to traverse, but got through it. Yeah. Lastly, I feel like the biggest challenge for this was working solo. Like every project, I guess 3 out of 4 projects before this were team projects. And for me personally, I feel like really well when I'm working with other people and I can pick their brain about decisions they've made. And there's pros and cons to each, but yeah, doing a solo project was tricky. I did learn a lot out of it, but yeah, that was like something that I also struggled with, but yeah. I think that's all I've got. If anybody's got any questions.
Steve, my man, I love the app. Great app, my friend. I think we can agree that Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring is maybe one of the best movies of any century. My question for you is, what state management system did you use? And I'll take my answer off the air. Thank you.
Okay. State management system.
Did you use Redux or?
Oh, I tried to use Redux at the beginning and then quickly got overwhelmed. So I just ended up passing props.
Oh, right on.
But yeah, I definitely want to learn some more Redux after this. I spent like the first week of the project week like learning Redux really hard, and then ended up not using it. So felt a little silly about that, but it is what it is.
Yay, great job, Vinny.
Thanks, y'all.
Awesome work. All right, next up we have Kim.
Yeah, go girl. Woo.
Thank you. You guys see this?
Yep, we got your screen.
All right. So this is my final project. The app name is Hipstew, so this is an app where you can like type in your ingredients, and then based on those ingredients, you can look for recipes. Generally, because I love food recipe, but like there's not a lot of website that allow you to search for recipe based on ingredients. So that's why I decided to make one. So the page. So here we have like a carousel of 5 random recipes. It's gonna change each time. So when I refresh, it's gonna change to a different set of 5 each time. And yeah, and also I add some validation or routes. So if you're not logged in, you're not allowed to see anything else. It's just gonna keep redirecting you to your home. And okay, let's try and sign up. So this is my sign up form. You can also like log in from sign up form if you want to, like switch. And I add some validation for the sign up form. Like the sign up form cannot be blank. So let's go ahead and fill it in. My name, say it's test, password. Okay, and now we are logged in. You're gonna see welcome and your name here. And let's go ahead and search for some recipes. Oh, So our top nav now would have this button, which is this is going to be editing profile, your recipe list, your fridge is where you keep track of like the ingredients you add. So that technically, so that no food go to waste because you can keep track of it while you're searching for recipes. I have a chat bot and sign up button. So let's go ahead and look for a recipe with 2 ingredients. You can type like at least 1 ingredient, but you can type as many as you want to. So let's say type tomato and beef. And here we have a toggle button, which is technically like when you select recipe, it's gonna send down the ingredients and a recipe state so that the app knows that it has to grab the recipe details, not ingredients. So let's go ahead and submit. So here we have all the recipe that have those 2 ingredients in it, or at least one of them. And down here we have a more recipe button. So each time you click more, it's gonna give you like 9 extra recipes based on the result. And when it reached the end, the button gonna disappear right here. That means it, that's all the result it have for you. So let's say you want to view the recipe details, you can click on them. You're gonna have the name, time that it takes to cook, serving amount, and you can also toggle between the units so that your ingredient amount won't change. For example, like these, and a photo, and you can also bookmark right here. I think this button took me forever to render, and also like it depends on whether if it's bookmark or not. So that was a little tough to get. Yeah, and right here is the recipe details. You have ingredients, cookwares. This one doesn't have any, so it's empty. Instruction, and let's say I want to bookmark it. Okay, we can also click back to view all the results so that we can browse more recipes. Let's say we want to view this one. Can also bookmark it. And oh yeah, for servings, you can also adjust it. Like you can lower it, let's say only 3 servings. It's gonna change the ingredient amount. And this one has cookware. The number represent like which step that needs those cookwares. So yeah, let's check out our recipe list. So in here you will see 2 recipes which is bookmarked. You can also click on them to view the details. And instead of having a bookmark here, I just include the diet. Okay. Another thing I want to show is, let's say we look for those recipe again. And here, since we already bookmark it, so you cannot bookmark it again. But you can also remove recipe from here by just clicking it again. And it should disappear from our recipe list. And now to the fridge. Since it's empty, so let's add some ingredients to it. Let's say I want to add like strawberries. So I'm gonna toggle the ingredient button and type in strawberry. Submit. It's gonna give you like a bunch of results that has strawberry keyword in it. So yeah, let's say I want to bookmark strawberry ice cream. Just plain strawberry, I guess. And you can go to fridge. You see it. You can also remove it from there. And yeah, let's see. Okay, let's go home. And for the recipe carousel, you can also click on them to bookmark or view the details. Click it. You're gonna see the information. You can also bookmark as well. Okay, let's go back home. And you can also update profile. So for example, if I want to like, let's say change my name to a shorter name, just Kim. And if you press update, it's not gonna let you because there's also validations here, password. And password confirmation also have to match. Okay, let's type in the right one, update. All right, so we are back home. There you go. I think that's pretty much it for my MVP. I'm gonna go ahead and look. We can also delete account, but I think I'm gonna save it for later in a bit. So let's go to our chatbot. So initially I did not think that I would have enough time to do this chatbot because I feel like it's complicated. But once I dive into it, like it's tough, but it's not like very unachievable. So for this chatbot, I have an instruction right here that you can see. So you can look up recipes based on ingredients or the recipe name. You can say more to load more results. You can get like food trivia, food jokes, or like do some unit conversion, find ingredient substitution, or you can do like regular conversation with it. So I also did some regex. I also did some regex here, like if you type special character, it would not register and would only get digits, word, and white space. So for example, let's type like, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
And the bot also speak. And so beside typing, you can also talk to the bot. So let's click this. Hello.
Hey there, Kim.
It can register your voice and kind of translate it to text. And that way the bot gonna know what text to answer. And there's gonna be a function that gonna technically output that text into speech. And I have some scripted lines right here. How are you feeling?
I feel happy. How are you?
I feel kind of sad.
You should try my food joke.
Okay, so now we can also ask for its food jokes. Technically gonna do a fetch to Spoonacular API. And it's gonna grab like random food jokes for you. So let's try it. A food joke.
My annual performance review says I lack passion and intensity. Guess management hasn't seen me alone with a Big Mac.
The voice do creep me out sometimes, but yeah. And also food, yeah. Can I get a food trivia?
Orthorexia nervosa is an eating disorder where the sufferer is obsessed with eating healthy food.
Okay. Yeah, and that is for like conversation wise, and also it can do like unit conversion for you so that you don't have to like switch between tabs to do conversion. Let's say 1 pound, 2 grams.
1 pound are 453.59 grams.
And it so these are all like Spoonacular API. I just have to like kind of connect it to the right endpoint so that it knows which endpoint to reach and get the data from. So that is the small one, small chunks. Am I running on time? I didn't time myself.
You might have another minute.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and search for recipes by voice. So let's see. Chocolate recipe.
Here are some recipes for you.
They're gonna give you like 9 quick answer recipes each time, and you can also say more so that it can load like extra 9. Can I see more?
Here are some more recipes for you.
And also I keep track of the chat history. Like I keep track of the state in it so that they render like each of them in a pair like this. It was tricky to get to because at first like everything just render like user on one portion and bot on the other portion. So now just keep like separate state of them and just going like this. And we can do more. Can I see more?
Here are some more recipes for you.
Can I see more?
Sorry, there is no more recipe for this keyword.
That means that it already reached like the end of it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. It was a nice talk.
Okay, and now that's it for my chatbot, and I'm just gonna go ahead and delete my account so that it's a full product. The account's gonna be a modal form, and
Damn.
let's try login again to see it's already deleted. Yep. And yeah, some code I want to highlight is actually like after Emily's lecture, it kind of hit me that like it's not too complicated to kind of send argument from front end to back end to get the right fetching data. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it for my presentation. Do you guys have any questions?
Just how?
Can we real clap?
Yeah, definitely.
I would like to second how.
Yeah, the fact that the chatbot was just a part of your app and not the thing that took up all of your time is amazing.
There's
Great
actually
work.
there's like an API for it. It's called like Web Speech API. The docs are pretty like easy to understand too. I thought it would take me like a whole week to figure out the chatbot, but it took me, I would not say that like not the whole week, but like 4 or 5 days, but it's not too bad.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah. Don't pretend like it was too easy when you get interviews. Tell them how much work you did. Awesome work. All right, all right. Up next, we have Elaine.
How can I follow that? That was awesome. We did a practice run last night, but I'm still mind blown. Anyway, so before I share my screen, versus or with, but anywho, before I share my screen, my app, I want to discuss the background of my app. My app is about skincare, Korean skincare products. I've certainly fell in love. Am I having an illy moment? Okay. I've certainly recently fell in love for Korean skincare. I hope I'm not cutting in and out. Korean skincare because of Kim introducing that to me. And I'm always intimidated going into stores and ask around what works for my skin. What does this do, this product do? So my purpose of this app is for people to have a resource on what to do, what to get. Like their skin fit this type of product. So other users could also see reviews from other users, what skin type they have, age range, and see if they could relate. So I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. If I could figure it out on time. There you go. So here we go. So this is my my models. I'm not gonna go into far with this because since it's basically the same as, am I moving it? Okay. How do you, oops. One moment. 1 second. There you go. Okay, I'm not gonna go too far into detail of the model since it's pretty much the same as like other projects we've seen a while ago, like the listing, the liking. So I'm gonna go ahead and go straight into the app itself. So right when you go into your app, you do have a mini about page on what Splash Glam is about. The inspiration is, when you do skincare, you wash your face. So every time I say Splash Glam, it's like splashing some glam in your face, So you like wash your face, skincare. So that's the inspiration about that. And I want to share like a resource where to go to for users because I am always intimidated going into stores. So let's go ahead and test the validations I have right here. Since we don't have any users, so if we type some gibberish, right? it should say we don't have that type of page. So let's go back to home. Let's say if someone knows that I have /products as a URL. Let's see if it'll let us. Nope, it doesn't let us. So let's go ahead and sign up. So let's say name, sadly, I'm Oily, 28. And username is Elaine. If I could type properly, so nervous. Okay, make a password and go ahead.
Great.
Thank you. Okay, so it'll flash all the products in the database. This is data from sokoglam.com. It's a website for Korean skincare products. I use the program called Parse Hub to scrape the data. I scrape data from Sokoglam, from Youth to the People, and another website that I can't remember right now because I'm too nervous. So this is sorted by the type of skin concern. So right now we're currently in all products, and you could pick from normal, combination, oily, and dry. So we'll go ahead and go to oily, and let's say I found something really cute and I want to bookmark it and put it in my list. So we know we haven't made a list yet. So we'll go ahead and bookmark that, and you'll show that you don't have any list. So we'll make one. Let's say cute stuff to try. That might be my title for my list. Go ahead and submit. I'm not sure if you guys could see, but I have an alert that says it's successfully added, but we'll go ahead and check our profile if it did. So go ahead, and I have this mock profile page right now. The goal for development is have the user be able to upload their own profile photo and have it here instead of the kitty cat right there. And you can see your age, the skin type that you submitted, and your username. So our list right here that we just did have that one product. So now if you want to go into go deeper and check the information of that product, we have a product page right here that you could put also a review if you have tried it, and also a product review section where you could also see other users' reviews on it. So let's say we were given this for Christmas and we've tried it. So let's say this product is awesome. And then we'll go click submit. Should refresh, and it should know that we put a review, and it shows the username, age, and skin type. And this is in purpose of I myself, when I go to an online store, I always check the reviews and see if I can relate, or what did they buy, what did they do, and all that. So maybe a next development would be like a star system, if they could put 5-star or 1-star. So I also have links on the brand, and also since I don't have a purchase or a cart system yet on this app, I have a link that I also scrape the data from. I have a link to go ahead and purchase the product from the website I scraped it from, which is Sokoglam. So it'll lead you over to that website. Okay, right there. And it shows the photo is kind of blown up, but okay, ads, nose. All right, so we'll go ahead and go back. And so let's go back and maybe do a couple more bookmarks. So let's go maybe try the cleansing balm. Okay, so we'll bookmark it from the product page. It should know we have one list, which is the cute stuff. Yes, I'm Amanda, I like this brand, and I'm gonna go ahead and submit it. And it should know that we like our cleansing balm right here. And a stretch of mine for this project is for a user to toggle day and night mode. So you see it's too bright. So let's go ahead and turn it down a little bit. So we'll go ahead and go to the products again on dark mode. So you can see the products are still the same. It knows when you go ahead and go to profile back, it knows when you go to check out your list, it knows when you go to edit your profile. Let's try and edit my name, Elaine. I don't even know what to type. We'll just go Elaine is mom. And let's say I have a birthday. I had a birthday, so let's go ahead and add an age. So it should say Elaine is mom, and it's 29. So that's basically my my app, and we'll go ahead and delete this account to see the full CRUD. And we're going back. So doing a delete or log out, it'll clear the local storage, so it'll go back to the day mode. In this case, if we could check that I am deleted on the system. It knows that I'm deleted in the system. So basically that's majority of my app, and thank you guys for listening. If you have any questions, let me know.
So cool. Elaine, I have a question about your night mode. Is it like a state thing and then like it just changes the class name on everything?
So I tried the state, but then I keep losing state. So I Googled a lot from YouTube to blogs. A lot of people use React hooks, and it has to be I think the hard part for me was because it needs to be in a function, React function instead of a class, but it has to be an app or it has to be in a like index. So I was like, maybe there's another way. For sure, there's another way. And I saw this guy on YouTube that did use local storage, but he used it. Kind of used hooks still, but then so I was like, maybe I should try that. So I tried local storage and just try to console log if it'll keep it state. So I have a theme. Actually, let me share screen real quick and show you guys on local storage. Oh, if my so on local storage, it should have length of 0, of course, because I'm not logged in. Sorry. But then I'm gonna have to sign up again. But yeah, anywho, on the let me try again one more time. There you go. So it has the jut, and it would also have a theme when I toggle, so that on refresh it would still know that it's dark mode. So I have a conditional that if it's dark, add a class list to the body that's dark with a set of colors on the CSS, and it stayed there, and then it will just clear the local storage when you log out. Yes.
Wow.
Thank you. Happy graduation. Congratulations, everyone.
That's awesome. Great work. All right. Up next, we have Alex.
Yeah, you got this, Alex. Don't be nervous.
Oh. Ooh. Go Twinnie. Are you in?
We can't hear you.
Are you muted, Alex?
Headphones. It's okay.
Still can't hear you.
Do you want to take a minute and we'll go to the next person? You can try to sort your mic stuff out.
Hear me?
Oh yeah.
Hey, we can hear you now.
Oh my God. You're
good. You're good.
Why does this happen to me? I'm like the most nervous person in our cohort. Okay, so as I was saying, so you've met my twin already. Okay, cool. Let's get this started. Let me share my screen.
You got it.
Okay, and then I'm gonna put you guys away. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Thank you. All right, so hi everyone. I'm nervous, and that's out of the way. Let's talk about my app. The idea sparked from how I got through this intense program. It has been mentally and emotionally challenging for the past 16, 17 weeks. And I often found myself writing to de-stress and writing a list of steps to follow to organize my brain. So I built something that integrates the tools that have been useful to me. And I named my app Today because it was a matter of getting things done today. And we literally because have no time at all. So since we don't have an account, let's go ahead and create one. And we'll create one for myself, Alex G. alex@gmail.com. 23. So for authentication, I'm using GemBcrypt to encrypt my password before saving it to my database, coupled with a JSON Web Token, which is an encoded token with the user info that we're sending once we submit this. That token will be stored in our local storage, and then that token will then act as an ID for the actions that are only available to the authenticated user. So once we press submit here, as a first-time user, this modal carousel will pop up only once as an intro. So take a step back, reflect through writing check-ins, upload a photo along with your check-ins, and view, like, and comment on check-ins. So let's go ahead and click this Get Started, which will directly bring us to the check-in form. So title is How Are You Feeling? And I'm still nervous. And write about it because I'm presenting. And then we can choose to upload a picture from our computer. This was actually one of the challenges I took on because we didn't learn how to upload files nor handle form data. And uploading files, I'm not exactly saving this file in my database because that would take a lot of space. So I choose to use a cloud-based platform called Cloudinary. Basically, I'm grabbing all the data I'm send it to the back end, send that specific image file to Cloudinary. Then Cloudinary will then send me back a URL of the uploaded image. Then I save that URL string to my database. So let's go ahead and attach a photo. And let's use this cat meme because it's appropriate.
Love it.
And there you go. So once posted, this will bring us to our landing homepage. This page will hold all of the current users' check-ins. I call them check-ins, check-in with yourself, and also generates a random advice, which is right here. Don't ever name files or folders using the word final. Wow, that's appropriate. This is being fetched from a third-party API called advicelip.com. So we have our title, our image, our comment, by whom and when it was posted, and then our number of likes. We also have our icons here that can like, edit, and delete. So let's go ahead and edit this. And let's change this to change of heart. And write about it, not nervous. I'm excited. And we'll change this picture, attach a new one, and put this. When I submit this, oh, actually, we can also make check-ins private. So when I submit this, the same cycle happens, except if there is already an image stored in the database, we're going to delete that and also delete it from the cloud as well to make sure that our cloud is not holding unnecessary data. And we'll click submit. And the post is updated. We can also browse other users' blogs. And by the way, thank you to everyone who contributed. I've asked my cohort to put some data to my app. So these are actual posts by my cohort mates. Thank you. So we are now under all blogs. You'll see that our private blog is under all blogs. But with this message, private blog only viewable by you. So if we quickly log out, log in as by another user, submit, and then go to all blogs. And you'll see that that private blog is not shown, only because that private blog is shown because you are the owner of that blog. So going back in, second. Cool, so back to all blogs. We can view and like other people's blogs. And of course, we shouldn't be able to edit or delete blogs that are not ours. That's why these icons are here. And for here, because this is not mine, there's only a like button. You could also search a term, and we have a search bar here, and it will filter all the blogs that include this term. So if I type in proud, we have proud here, another one right here, and then another, I think somewhere here in part of the content. And then that's that. So going to the like function, let's go ahead and like this blog. Once you like it, you'll see the number increase. And if I unlike, and it also turns blue. And if I unlike it, it goes back to 3. So let's go ahead and super nervous for presentation. Let's like that. Urgent. Does the 5-second rule apply to soup? Please hurry. Thank you, Kevin. That was great. So let's like that also. And cool. So besides the liking part, you could also comment. Opt to comment to any blogs. Once posted, we could edit or delete our comment. So let's comment here, say yay. Comment, and now you can see that you can edit or delete it. And again, the same functionality only applies to comments that belongs to you. And in case boohoo, and press comment. And then you could also delete that comment. Another one is if you click someone's name, you could also see all of Will L's blogs. This is actually our Fun Fact Friday. Fun fact, he gives us fun facts every Friday. That was and then, so going back to the likes, we could also remember that we liked earlier. We can now go to the like blogs. Same functionality happens. It's only showing all the likes, all the blogs that we like. So if we remove this like, now it removes it from the list. So that first part was my MVP. As for stretch goals, the next part was, I wanted to create a list. Originally, it was supposed to be one list, but what's the fun and challenge in that? So I built a clone of Trello. For some of you who are not familiar with Trello, it is a list making application, and I'll show you how it works. Let's create a couple of lists. Let's call it today. Call it exercise and paperwork. And here we could also edit the name of the list. We can also add tasks under each list. So let's say prep for presentation, present, turn up, because why not? And then we should just add some stuff here also. So push-ups, sit-ups, and then DMP. We can edit the task name as well. So let's go ahead and change this to, I don't know, happy hour, maybe, we'll see. And then we could also delete tasks as well. Once I got the basic functionality done with this list, I wanted to be able to grab, go for the extra mile and drag and drop based on priority. So I use a library called React Beautiful DND. The first part is to move tasks in the same list. So let's go ahead and move this turn up before happy hour, before I even present. And when I got that to work, I was like, let's also be able to move it to the other list and see if that works. And now I was able to move it. And then I was like, okay, now that I got that to work, let's move the whole list to the other end. So I was like, okay, great. But this change was all happening in the front end. Actually, the harder part behind this was persisting the positions of these things in the database. Because if I were to reload this without persisting in the database, everything will go back to normal. I did this by adding a new column to the list and task table in my database and called it order number. From there, I was able to manipulate the order of data being sent from my database to my front end. So if I were to reload this, I think it reloaded. No, and then now it's persisted. And lastly, we can delete a list as well. And because we will never do this, we will delete it. Deleting your list along with your task, I hope you finish them. Certainly not. And you could also, I forgot, you could also mark your tasks done as well. And that's for the to-do list. The next part is a last minute added feature that definitely requires a lot of development because I wanted to include this because this will sum up how I kept up with the program. If you click Tunes, a SoundCloud widget will play. You could play and pause. You could scroll through the playlist and play other songs. And if you do other things in the app, let's just keep it playing. It will stay and keep playing. And then once I got that to work, I was like, we should be able to drag it everywhere, everyone.
Oh my.
And so once that was done, basically the goal is, to write a check-in to get your feelings in order, create lists to have a structured plan, and play that lo-fi music in the background while you code. And towards the end, a user can update your profile. So from Alex G to Alex, 1, 2, 3. Y'all know my password now. And then we go to home, and now we see hello, Alex, and yeah, that's it. And then finally, a user can delete your account. Delete my account. Are you sure you want to permanently delete your account? Delete it. And if we try to log back in, we can't. And that is my app. For final words, I think the biggest challenge was deciding whether to use Redux or not, because I had such an overwhelming list to begin with, and I knew very little about Redux, but I wanted to challenge myself and take on this new technologies to see if I can adapt and learn on my own. After all, we're all going to get jobs that's not just going to be React or JavaScript. And I'm so glad I pushed through with it. I thought it was, for me at least, it was a steep learning curve. But when I learned it, I see the problem that Redux is trying to solve. And throughout creating this project, I had this constant feeling that I was never doing enough, but I didn't know a single thing about any of this a little over 3 months ago. And I know I did the best that I could. So I'm very proud of this. And thank you all for your time.
I'm speechless. That was just you did 3 projects. Oh my God.
So good.
Like, get out of here. Why are you in our
That
class?
was amazing.
Thank you.
This is you hating CSS, huh?
Yeah. I guess I'm supposed to ask any questions.
My question is, why are you trying to make us all look bad?
Ask Kim that.
Yeah, no questions. Just
Okay, cool.
awesome work.
Thank you, everyone.
Having so many apps inside of one app that are all very well polished and seamless is incredibly impressive. Well done. All right, up next we have Clay.
All right, can y'all hear me all right? Yep, coming through. All right, so my app is called Yacht Service Pro, and it's made for a very specific niche of a need that I had. I'll show you the, get rid of that, show you the models. So I have a few models, mostly integrate with the Stripe backend. And I can't see, I hope that's the right icon. And so there's 2 sides to the app. There's a customer portal and a provider portal, but what I wanted was an application to cater to what I needed as a boat owner, as far as how to shop for services and how to know, like, what is even available. So we'll go through the app through 2 different tracks, one of them as a new service provider, and then I'll show you what it looks like as a customer. So I don't want to reuse that one. Start a new. So create a new account as a provider. No, thank you. And so there's no products at this point. So we'll say that this guy does oil changes once a month. He'll come by and change your oil or something, and he works in Oak Harbor Marina. And so he'll add that product, and he wants to offer the same thing in Anchor Cove, and so he can add a product there. And then when you click on the product, now, because of how Stripe works, you have to create a price object to go with that product. We have to create a price for our product that we created. So he's going to charge $65, and just for a one-time fee. Or if you want to have it, let's say he'll charge $50 if you get it recurring every week. And so those are the charges. And yeah, that's basically at that point. You can continue to add more products for different marinas. You can also log out, and that redirect doesn't work for some reason. But then when it comes to being a customer, let's say I want to register as a new person. So then it takes me to a similar page where I don't have any boats yet. So let's just pick one of the boats here. And this boat, let's say this boat's 40 feet long, and it has a registration number. It's not a sailboat, and it's at Oak Harbor. And so, again, when you create a boat, now it pops up and says this is your boat. You can edit the boat details, and it goes back, and you can change. So you can change which marina you're at. But we're in Oak Harbor for this one, so we'll stay there. And then when you click on the yacht services, you get a list of all of the services that are available, and whether it's a one-time service or whether it's a recurring fee. So let's say that I want to use a pump out service, and I just want to buy it one time. Well, at that point, Stripe comes up, and I'm still in test mode. Obviously, I don't want to spend real money, but it gives you the charge and then asks you for your card information. So all 4 twos is the universal test card, if you didn't know that. And you can just put anything in, and then you can pay the money. And it also supports Google Pay, as you see there at the top. But then it takes you back to the screen, and you can continue shopping for services. And that's basically how it works. The complicated part of this was keeping everything deployed and secure, and getting the Stripe integration to go off without throwing a bunch of errors, and really just endless error tracing. As far as where I want to continue to go with the app, I want to add email integration. You saw I used the email to sign in, but right now that's not connected because I'm using this domain for another email service, so that created a problem with that. And this is actually meant to be a customer portal to an existing website. So the service provider that is a friend of mine that I'm working with owns a business, and this will be a section of his website that customers can go and manage their services. And the other stretch goal will eventually be to have a list of those receipts from past purchases, but that's not as easy to integrate as it seems. So those are all future goals to have. And that's the long and short of it. I just made it for a very selfish reason, that I needed this service for what I needed. I guess the other thing to point out is if you change the details of where the boat is, then the services that are available change as well, because those services are per the marina. So that's how the shopping works. If you keep multiple boats in multiple marinas, they each have their own service. And as a service provider, you can granularly control how much you charge at each marina for each of these services, because some marinas cost more to work at than others. So that's it. Any questions?
How did you integrate payment?
Oh, it's through Stripe. It's called a Stripe checkout. If I can spell it right. and it basically gives you that entire, well, it was showing you in the little animation, but like this page is actually generated by Stripe. So once you make the call to Stripe, you give it us two URLs. One is a success URL to go to when the payment succeeds, and then another cancel URL if they cancel the payment or it doesn't go through for some reason. And then Stripe takes over, and the other things you got to have is a website secured with TLS, which has to be your back end because all the Stripe calls happen from your back end. You can't actually call Stripe from the browser directly. You have to have a back end server to send the call to, and then your server makes the call to Stripe. So getting all those moving pieces, the back end and the front end, to talk together like that was probably the big challenge of this.
Nice
Awesome work.
work.
Awesome work. Great work, Clay. Up next, we have Inay.
Yeah, suddenly I have to pee. My heart is racing. Okay. So my project. Okay, thanks. My project, I'm calling it Faceplant, sort of a joke on Facebook. This is a social media app platform for the people who get really, really into house plants, as you can see in my surroundings. So people, there are lots of houseplant enthusiasts out there. There's lots of Facebook groups about them, but they don't have their own exclusive niche place to go. So I thought, oh my gosh, this is the plant that stirred all the interest, is this bird's nest fern. And I thought, that is so picturesque. I wish I could share this with other people so they can see how stunning this plant is. So that's what this app is. I'm gonna log in here with a very simple login. You can create a new account if you'd like, but I already have existing accounts. And it takes you to your dashboard immediately. And I have some plants here in my collection. So it makes a card for each of my lovely plants here, and we can edit myself. It automatically assigns a creative haiku-esque name to you, but I like the name. I'm going to say never mind and keep it. In my plant collection, you can click on each of your plant cards and view what the user has inputted for this plant. So as an example, some people name their houseplants, some people don't. I have a mix, some of them are named and some aren't, but you can give it a rating of how difficult you think it is to take care of it, how much moisture on a scale of 1 to 5, and how much sunlight, and any notes that you want to keep. From the user's point of view, I can choose to delete it or edit its details. But instead, I'm actually going to demo another user. I'm going to log in as Pat. And Pat here just has 2 plants. So we're going to add a new plant for this user. We have this nice page here and a little image upload thing. And we're going to upload a calathea. So I don't know if you want to suggest a name. We'll just call it Callie. New plants, no personality. Some people, I mean, I'm part of these houseplant enthusiast groups on Facebook, and some people, like, they give personalities to their plants. Like, this was a total drama queen. And then best advice is like, keep the soil moist, water only from below. So it's you could go on Google and look up how to take care of a calathea. But this is like a place where you can put your specific advice for, like, this is what I do to take good care of the plant. So then I would go ahead and give it, it's not too difficult. It likes bright light, and I would say neutral for moisture, and it gets added to my plant collection. Okay, cool. So now what else is there? We can go to my little feature called the greenhouse. And this actually displays plants that other users have posted in the order that it's been posted. So I can scroll down and see, you know, really rare stromanth plant that someone posted, and it shows who's taking care of it. This one doesn't have a nickname. And you can see comments down here added by the person that is not taking care of it. Sorry. Comments on other people's plants.
is what I'm trying to do. So let's say create foliage and submit it, and it appears right below here. And these little delete buttons render conditionally based on whether you were the person who posted that comment or not. So I'll delete that, go back to our greenhouse, and we can see a list of all these lovely plants that other people have posted. And I have this nice little button here, which will load 3 more if I want. And there's also, I forgot to mention, this little adore and unadore feature. It's like a like, but I wanted to make it sound cuter. And basically, we can read other comments by other users and view the page. And I have full CRUD on the user and the plant, so you can create, read, update. Sorry, you know what CRUD means. Sorry, I'm a little bit nervous. And I added a little Easter egg in here, where if you click on the user's icon of your dashboard, it just takes you to a peaceful page that you can just zone out to. It doesn't do anything. That was my little Easter egg. But anyhow, the API that I'm using is, sorry, who I'm logging in as. Oh no, I want to log in as Aaron. The API that I'm using is to generate these random little icons for each person. It's a simple API. I wanted to use a more complicated plant API, but the data was really difficult to access. And there was a lot of information missing in some of the columns. So this is Aaron. He likes air plants. And other features that I would like to add eventually is a search feature for the greenhouse. So you can search, for pothos plants and eventually see how many users have a pothos plant and sort of look at what those profiles are. And we can see here that Pat has just posted this calathea. And we're going to say, lovely streaks, yay. And another feature that I would like to add is sort of like a profile page for the plant in general, like the whole, oh my gosh, the whole species of the plant. So for example, if we have a pothos plant here, maybe it'll take the aggregate data of all the users who have a pothos and average out of all the users that have a pothos, the soil is 3 out of 5, the sunlight is 2 out of whatever. So it'll average all the users that have that pothos plant and sort of keep the aggregate data of all of the plants of that species on the website. So that is one stretch goal. And maybe another one would be to add multiple photos for a plant. But otherwise, you can update the plant's picture if you would like to change it to something else, as well as everything. I don't know what else to say, really. Challenges I've had was having to deal with state and barely dealing with local storage. It's difficult to keep track of where you are in the page sometimes, and state would drop randomly here and there. And that was pretty frustrating. And attaching the API was a little bit of a struggle at first because every API is so different. There's a lot to get used to. So that's my app, and I used vanilla CSS for this whole thing. No Bootstrap, no Bulma or anything. I just had fun with the challenge of CSS. Okay.
Woo!
Woo! My mom loves your app.
Woo!
Woohoo!
Yeah.
Looks great. CSS, everything about it looks great. Any big questions? All right, awesome work, Anae. Up next, we have Will L.
Howdy, y'all. All right, so my project was, I'm running on the same inspiration that Amanda had. I am nostalgic for the days of getting to go places and do things. And I was pretty into trying to get out and do a bunch of long multi-sport expeditions, and find planning logistics for big outdoor trips is a huge pain. So I built something to hopefully ease that. Fair warning, I lack an aesthetic touch, and there's a blindingly white theme coming your way when I share my screen. Sorry. Here we go. All right, we're seeing the right screen, right? I am bad at Zoom. Okay, I'm gonna assume you guys are seeing the app.
Yeah, we see it.
Yes.
Calling it Bushwhacker, because I am. So basic login form, as Maddie said, wildly proud of the very simpleness of the login form. Basic validations. You can sign up, create a new account, and we'll stick with the theme. Frodo's gonna need a password of 123 because that's what all the passwords are. Because I can't remember anything else. And sorry, my internet is very slow when I share my screen. Cool. So we end up in a dashboard. Currently, Frodo's got no trips going on, but we can create a new trip. Trip gets a name. We'll call it, I don't know, Mordor Adventure. I don't know if I spelled that right. Anyway, you set the dates for your trip. He's gonna bang this one out over the weekend. Quick Friday to Monday adventure. Select people that you want to. Yeah, you guys are gonna see all my ridiculous name testings. So if you want to add a collaborator, you can go ahead and type in here, and it does an active search of the database. So each key you type is searching through the database for current users. Like Pizza's my new dog. I think I named one Sticks. You can add these in here, and then you can delete them if you don't want them. Neat feature of that is as you add, if I type in previous search terms already there, it'll bring it back up, but it won't query the database. It's caching out the search results. So it's still a lot of database calls, but not as many. And I didn't write any fancy code to do that. That was a library. You can add notes. It's gonna be hard. Then to create a trip, you should be taken to a map, which based on internet speed, starts you out at my favorite place in the Grand Canyon if you don't have any trips in there, and then flies you to your current location. So now you all know where I am. Fun fact that doesn't have any utility, the circle of the dot is the accuracy of the location, like the radius of the circle. Right, so you can zoom out. That's where I am in Tucson. You can go someplace that's cool, like, I don't know, Colorado's pretty cool. Just check out the San Juan Mountains. Uncompahgre Peak is kind of like Mordor. So you can zoom into a place you want to go. The map comes with 2 different layers. There's a street map, which doesn't look like anything in this part of Colorado, and a topo map. I had a goal. I wanted to do this all with open source, like no paying for anything or limiting APIs. And I did it, but then I swapped out the API that gets elevation because the free one is really slow. But anyway, so if we want to make the actual like legs of the trip, we have a little like building, drawing a line tool. So maybe Frodo's going to start here at this random spot and ride his bike up this road toward this mine. You can click the delete last point button. The last point goes away. You can click the finish button up here, or you can just click the last point and it'll create it. Once you click on this, then you can edit specifically like the dates. Like, okay, first leg of this journey is going to be just like the 1 day, and it's going to be a bike ride, and it doesn't need notes. If we update it, it'll color code the leg. Wow, that color is hard to see here based on the sport. Then maybe he's gonna hike up this peak to destroy the ring. Defaults to a hike, but we can say that, you know, it's gonna be the next leg of the trip to do. Destroy ring upon arrival. All right, so that's the basic features of creating the trip. I'm going to sign out real quick and then sign back in as myself, who, if I remember right, was listed as a, yeah. So I've got my little like icon up here. The little circle with the 1 in it means I have 1 invitation to join a trip. And click on it, brings up all the options.
Woo.
Takes me to, oh, -3 days. Did I put the dates in backwards? Oh, this might screw everything up. I can fix that in a second. Anyway, it breaks it down by the legs of the trip. It's got bike. It has the distance of the bike, the accumulated elevation gain of the bike, and then the hike, the distance of the hike, accumulated elevation gain. You can decline it and delete the side of the record, or we can accept it, then shoot over to our profile. It'll get added in down here. Then I'm just going to hop in here real quick and edit this so it actually goes into the future, because I don't know what hell that might leak on me if I do it backwards. I haven't tested that edge case out yet. Shouldn't be allowed to happen. You can also, you can add all these things. You can also mark the trip as completed if you want. It'll update. Once you complete it, it says, you did it, nice job. If you go back to the map, there was, once you have a trip in here, the map defaults to a boundary around the, the trip. And you can click on this cool little thing. This is my last night feature. It brings up, and oh, this is a really boring one, an elevation profile of the thing. And if you mouse over on it, it gives you the sport and the distance and the elevation and a little dot that tracks along your, a dot that I wish I could make a more dynamic size. That's a future goal. Also, making this pop up in the topo line here was easier than getting JavaScript to reliably round to 2 decimal points. So there's 1,000 of them sometimes, and I gave up on that. It was a fight not worth winning. Yeah, click that, make that go away. Other than that, you can edit the profile. I can be like, there's Grand Canyon, in case anyone's curious. It's the best place on earth. I can change my name to Will. Update that, now I'm Will. I can delete my account with my horribly styled alert. Didn't get to that, but do it on that, it'll log me back out, take me back here to this pretty mountain in Bolivia. That is pretty much the functionality of the app. If I log back in as Frodo. One of the, not one of, the absolute biggest challenge I had here with this map, I used a mapping library called Leaflet that connects with React via the React Leaflet map or library. And Leaflet connects, it is totally ignorant of the virtual DOM that React uses, and it just connects straight to the real DOM. So anytime you update anything with React and it re-renders, it will not change the map. And anytime something changes on the map, it will not trigger a re-render. It won't like trigger any of the React lifecycle methods. And that took days of figuring out that it even exists, and then a long time working through various bits and pieces to make that work. And then the fun little graph is made by the D3 graphing library. And obviously plugs into this guy too. But I think that is it for functionality and features. Oh, future stuff. The thing I really wanted to do with this, which I'm nowhere near, but I hope to work out, is I'd like to load in data from the USGS that has land jurisdictions. So a track knows when you've crossed into private land or public or Park Service land, and it can be like, hey, you can't be here. Hey, you need a permit to do this here, and then like redirect you accordingly. And that is what I got. Also, my computer says it's 7 because when I originally geolocated, you'll notice I was in mountain time. Nobody panic.
You're doing great.
Cool. Any questions for me?
Well, that is amazing. How did you do the like clicking on the map makes a path thing?
There's a library for it. Actually, it's got a really cool edit feature I didn't talk about. You can like drag it and you can add new points.
Was that hard to incorporate?
Yes. Actually, getting it to draw a map on there was not that hard. That like the toolbar and everything was like a pretty straightforward like plug and play, but getting it to persist and interact with was very challenging because the things you draw on there, you interact with in a totally different fashion than things that get loaded up through the database. And so whenever I draw a new line, actually, that's why there's like this stutter pause, it goes away. It's because it has to get deleted via method and then reloaded from the database and printed in another way. So I can still access everything in the same fashion.
Oh my God.
What does the data set look like for that when you're like creating those new points?
I'll show you. It's just like in an array of Latin longs.
Oh, okay, cool. And that's what gets stored in state and then, or I guess gets added to your backend too.
Yeah, pretty much the backend is just, so like I have legs which don't actually have any, they're just like IDs and distances. And then there's a locations table in my backend. I don't know if this is too small.
Okay.
The locations are just an ID, a Latin long, and a leg ID. So they connect to the legs.
Nice. I can see there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
That's a cool setup.
All right, I will abandon the map if I can find out how to. Thanks, y'all.
Awesome work, Will. All right, up next we have Marissa.
Woo, go Miss Press.
Yeah.
Thank you. Let me share my screen. Okay, so the premise of my app is yet another recipe app. I'm really sorry for anyone who's been here since the beginning. I promise we didn't all plan to make recipe apps together, but anyway, the idea for this came from basically I have issues finding apps, or not apps, sorry, recipes, especially when I'm trying to make cuisines that are not American necessarily. Like my family background is Chinese. A lot of times I want to make Chinese recipes, but I can't actually read Chinese. So I can't read the Chinese recipes, and I also don't even know where to find them. So basically what I wanted to do was make a recipe sharing platform where people can post their recipes, preferably in English. So that was the inspiration. The app didn't really actually go there as in like getting authentic cuisines that are not American, but it's really more of just like a recipe sharing social media platform, inspired a lot by Instagram actually, but I wanted it to be screen responsive since you know, these days a lot of people like to browse on their phones instead of on the web. So that is what you're looking at right now, assuming you can see my screen, right? Yeah, okay, cool. So first thing is you have a sign in screen. If you don't have an account, you have a link to sign up. So let's go ahead and sign up. I'm just going to sign myself up. Password. All right, so there's authentication stuff here too, but a bunch of people already show that, so I'm just going to skip over that. Passwords have to be the same, can't be blank, everything like that. So submit. This will take you to the homepage. It's populated right now with some recipes I just put in earlier, but we'll get back to the homepage later. There's a toggle menu here. So there are all these tabs other than home, which is where we are right now. The next one is profile. This one has information about you and any recipes that you might have made. Right now we're a new user, so there's nothing here. We have 0 subscribers, 0 recipes. From here, you can either add a recipe or edit profile. If you click on this, it takes you to exactly where the settings take you in the menu bar as well. Here you can edit your, so notice that this field username is disabled, and that's because there's a validation checking that when you sign up, that no, you can't have the same username as someone else. So I thought it made sense that you wouldn't be able to change it after you made it, so that you wouldn't accidentally change it to something someone else already has. Let's say I want to update my name to my full name, password. Here's some more validations that people have already shown, but if they don't match up, for example, you get an alert, passwords don't match up. So let's make it match up and submit it. And account has been successfully updated, and you're taken back to the home page. So going back to profile, we can try to add a recipe now. This is a recipe form. You can put in your titles, descriptions, things like that. For the sake of time, I will copy in a recipe that I already have on hand. I did not come up with it, but it looks like an amazing recipe and I would like to try it someday. So we're gonna make almond butter cookies and here's a description of it. Notice that these, all of these fields they have the little asterisks on them, so they're all required. If you try to submit the form without filling in some of them, you'll get some sort of notification that you have a field missing. So, so upload image. So my image of almond butter cookies. So same thing as a lot of other people have done. I use a cloud service for it. It's actually here. I use Azure for it. But basically now you have your file here. For this part, this is the ingredients. You can put in your, for this one, let's say we want 1.5 cups of flour. This is the whole number quantity. This is the fraction quantity. So we want cups of, say, all-purpose flour. Right now, you'll notice that there's a delete button here, but it's disabled because it would make sense that your recipe would have at least one ingredient. So you can't delete and have no ingredients. However, you can add more ingredients. And once you do, these delete buttons will become active and you can delete any ingredients that might have been mistakes. And next, let's just add one more ingredient. This recipe has a lot of ingredients. For the sake of time, again, let's just add in 2 of them. So 1/2, what is this? I'm trying to go off this. 1/2 cup of cane sugar. All right, so just for demonstration purposes, that's probably good enough. Next, I'm going to copy in the instructions. And lastly, here is tags. So for this, let's say cookies would make sense. Dessert probably also makes sense. So submit it, and this will take you to the recipes view page. You can see that the tags have rendered here and everything. This is a recipe that my current user, I made. So if you scroll down to the bottom, there's edit and delete buttons. There's also a comment section, which I'll get back to later. But for edit and delete, if we want to edit this recipe, let's say we also want to say yum, submit, you'll see that it updated. And if we go back now to our profile page, we have one recipe and it is rendered here. So that is the profile page. The next one in the menu is favorites. Right now, we don't have any favorites yet because we're a new user. You favorite recipes by, if I go back to home really quickly, there's hearts on all these recipe preview cards. You can either, oh, so this is the one that I made, it popped up. So you can favorite it this way, or if you want to, you can read more and favorite it this way. And if we go back to favorites now, they are here. So that is favorites. Next on here, we have subscriptions. No users subscribe to yet because we are new. So let's say I want to subscribe to the people who I favorited recipes from. If we click read more, click on the username, it'll take us to their profile page. And here, it looks pretty much similar to my profile page, but you'll notice there's no buttons here to edit or add recipes because this isn't me. However, I can subscribe to this user. So I will subscribe and let's also subscribe to this one too. All right, so now in subscriptions, we have all the users here. Next on here would be the last one before logout, all recipes. So this kind of just, like it sounds like, renders all recipes on this app in the order it was created in. So this one was the last one that was created, so therefore it's first. So if I click on this one, my own recipe, since I'm not in the profile tab, I don't have these buttons here where I can edit and delete stuff. And similarly, if I click on my name, I can't edit this stuff if I'm not in the profile tab. And I also can't subscribe to myself because that'd be kind of redundant. Other than that, let's go back to all the recipes. So I kind of flew through the other stuff really quickly because one of the hardest parts of my apps was getting all the buttons to link up, and I'll show you what I mean. Say I want to click on this, read more. I showed you earlier how I could click on the user to get to their profile page. You can also click on these tags. If you click on a tag, it shows you all the recipes that have that tag. You can click read more, you can click on another tag, you can click read more, you can click on the user. So basically, and then there's the back button. So this was the part that was probably the hardest, but if you go back to where you came from and where you came from there and so on. And this was hard because I had to keep track of every page I had visited so that I can go back in the same order or in the reverse order. And I'll show you later in my code if there's time, but basically I used a stack for that. I had to basically restructure my entire code just to do that, the back button, which doesn't seem like a very impressive feature, but yeah. And so also additionally, I don't think I showed you yet, you can write comments. I just thought it'd be a pretty basic feature to be able to comment on people's recipes on a sort of a social media platform. So what is this recipe? Tortellini soup. You can say, this was amazing. So comment, it'll show your username and what your comment is. And so that is it for everything in the menu bar. But you'll notice there's also a search bar at the top. So this you can use to search for either tags or recipes. So let's say we want to search for eggs. It'll show you all the tags that are similar to what you put in. So I guess I only have one tag similar, which is eggs. It'll also show you recipes where eggs, the search term, is in either the title or one of the ingredients. So if you have ingredients that you want to use up, you can search for it that way. If you have a specific sort of dish you want to make, you can search it up that way too. So for example, French toast here, there's no eggs in the title. So it showed up because there's eggs in the ingredients. And from here, you can also click on the tags. It'll bring you to the tag page again. And I don't think I explicitly said this, but inside of every tab, basically, you can do this thing where you can read more and click on things and click on more recipes and read more and then go back and back and back. So basically that is, yeah, that is search. And just to show, if we say like, yum, it'll show you all the tags that are similar to it. So not just the one that you typed in. So that is kind of a brief run through of all the features of the app. I said earlier I wanted to make it screen responsive, so I'm going to show you how I did that now. Oh gosh, okay. All right, so I'm going to put this back into a non-mobile view. So here it is. It's a pretty similar size to what it was before, so it doesn't look any different. Let me actually go back to the home page. So if I try to expand the screen size, at a certain point, margins will pop up just to make it less cluttered and more easy to read. If I expand it even more, then the toggle menu disappears and we have an actual menu that appears at the top. This is because when you're viewing it on like a computer, it probably makes more sense to see it laid out this way. And then, yeah, of course, if you go back, it goes back to that sort of view. So that is almost everything. I forgot to show you, but basically you can delete a recipe. If you delete a recipe, then, oh shoot, did I not go? Yeah, sorry, I don't know what just glitched right there. But if you delete a recipe, you don't have any recipes left. 0 recipes and everything. And finally, if you go to settings, you can delete your account. There's a confirmation that pops up. Do you want to delete it? Yes. And so I'm, yeah, pretty sure if I log back in. Oh, I don't remember what did I say Marissa, you or Marissa? Oh, shoot. I don't remember it, but it shouldn't work if you try to log back in. So that is the app. I would say it took a lot more work than it looks. So for what I was talking about earlier, I'll show you a bit of code. For how I kept track of the back buttons, it was through a stack and state, basically. So every time I visit a page, I push it into the correct array, keep track of which type of page it is. And then if I go backwards, I pop it off from the stack. So that's basically how I did that. I had to basically refactor every single component to get that to work. And other than that, I would say the hardest thing was actually the recipe form. That took me about 2 days to make because if I show you my recipes controller, first of all, this controller is like 160 lines long. But when I want to create a recipe, I'm posting to 4 different tables at once in my database. So it's related to search as well. So the way I implemented the search was it's a separate table all by itself that's not connected to anything. And every time I make a recipe, I put in a search term of all the tags in there, all the titles, all the words in the title, and then all the ingredients. And those are the search terms in my search table. So basically when I create a recipe, I have to, 1, create the recipe, 2, create all the tags, which is a separate model. 3, create the recipe tags, which is a joint model for all of them. And then 4, create the search for the tags and the recipes. So that took a little bit of figuring out. And for create, update was even worse because I had to go back and see in my search terms of which ones I have to delete and remake according to how I edited my recipe. So this one is even longer. And then for destroy, of course, I have to make sure that I destroy all the searches I have associated with the recipe when I delete the recipe. Otherwise, you would be able to put in a search term for a recipe that doesn't exist. So that is basically it for the code and the app. As for the stuff that I use to make it, I use React, Redux, and Material UI. Outside of that, I didn't use any other external APIs or libraries, which is part of why I think it took so long to make everything. All this stuff was made from scratch, basically. And for future development, one thing that I started adding in was being able to search for users as well. But I just didn't have a chance to finish that up. And something else that I wanted to do was have a serving size calculator because I just thought that would make sense, which I also ran out of time for. That's kind of why I did the ingredients in the recipe in the way that I did it with the dropdown and everything, so that I could take the fractions, calculate, like literally multiply, math, calculate everything, put it back in with like the serving size. I just didn't necessarily get to that part. And then the other stretch goal that I had that I didn't get to was, oh, I don't think I even showed you. So I'm gonna log into an account that I know exists. So for the homepage right now, featured recipes is just grabbing the 5 most recent recipes, which isn't that helpful, I think. What I wanted to do was write a recommendation algorithm, basically that goes off of what you favorited. Like if you favorited a lot of recipes with a chicken tag, maybe you like chicken, maybe it'll suggest more recipes with that tag, or maybe it'll look at users who've liked similar recipes to you and it'll see which ones they've also liked that you haven't. And for that, I was going to use a KNN algorithm, K-nearest neighbors, but of course I ran out of time for that too. But that would be a future development thing that I would like to work on. And that is it. Any questions?
Nice work.
Yes, a woohoo.
Yeah, that's awesome. Over here, dropping how you would do a K-nearest neighbors problem. Like that wasn't something that I struggled with for like weeks when I was learning. Awesome, awesome stuff. Looks great. All right, last one. Alec, you're up.
Give me 1 second to spin up my server. I'll be ready in just 1 sec. I think I can hear the silence right now. It's crazy. All right, got one. Just doing a little prep work here. Okay. Cool. So, doing my capstone. Wow, everybody's was crazy. I am it's funny, like it's kind of like the end of stand down. I don't feel like comfortable talking about things that people have already like been excited in featuring, but like I'm pretty much just going to be talking about how excited I am about features that everybody's already done. So that's exciting. Anyway, let's just get in really quick. So my capstone project I called Quick Trainer. For any of you that don't know, I used to be in the fitness industry. And so for my capstone, I wanted to attack a little bit of a niche that I feel like is generally untapped in the fitness industry. And it really is just simply put that a lot of people don't want to work with a trainer, but really want a trainer's advice. And a lot of people are adept at using equipment in a gym, but don't know what to do and when and why and like all those questions. And compounding on that, with Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, there have been a lot of fitness professionals who are good at advertising themselves, but are having trouble reaching like markets because people can like their stuff and be like, ooh, this is great. But if they don't have a platform to have those people reach out to them, then they don't really have a way to like expand their audience. So I was hoping to create an application that kind of fit into that niche where, let's say you follow like a fitness professional, you can seek them out and create an agreement with them, and then they can give you fitness advice and programming in more of a like fitness sense, not a training sense. So I'm just going to create an account. I was going to use my name, but apparently that's not what we're doing today. So I'm going to be Bilbo because everyone else was doing Frodo. And as you'll see, we have a couple of account types that we can make. You can be a trainer or a client on this website, and it kind of conditionally changes a lot of the stuff that you see. So I'm going to create a client account, and we're just going to do the minimum that we need to get this thing going. So I'm just going to do a date of birth. These are optional fields. And later I would like to implement some sort of like image storage, but for right now we just have image URLs, and I'm just going to skip that. So it takes you to the landing page. Very light at the moment. One of my stretch goals is the very last thing that I would have done if I didn't have to drive home yesterday was I was going to start seeing how much I could get into a homepage feed. That's going to be definitely the first thing I tackle at the end of this. But right now we just kind of have a couple of places to land. So really quick, I'll just show what we have here, which is our account settings. Very straightforward. If I wanted to, you know, add to this, I could just add to it. On complete, it checks and it does front end validations, then sends it to the database, and then does a second level of validations to check the back end, and it updates. On top of that, of course, I can change my password. I can delete my account, yada, 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 those kind of things. So let's go to the meat of the application, which is we want to create a training agreement. We want to seek out a trainer. So I just kind of did a one draft of this. This is something I'd like to polish up. I've seen some really good kind of like pagination and different ways to seek through rosters. So I'd like to add to that too. But right now we just have a really simple form here. I did P90X. I don't know if anybody else did P90X back in like high school or whatnot, but I respect my man, Tony Horton. So I want his advice and I want to improve my squat. So we're gonna seek out 12 sessions with Tony. And it looks like we were able to successfully create it in the back end. And now we have a pending agreement. Not a whole lot we can do with the pending agreement. So we have to wait for Tony to respond. But luckily enough, I got Tony right here. And Tony's end, he's a coach. So instead of having coaches, he has clients here. He has all of his clients with different things. I have procedurally generated goals and stuff for all these people. But Bilbo Baggins really wants to improve his squat. So we are going to say, you know, why not? Let's train Bilbo Baggins. He wants to improve his squat. All right, let's improve your squat. And I'm going to give him, we'll give him a month to see if he can improve squat by 15%, you know, just, you know, arbitrary goal, it doesn't really matter. But now that it's created, I can access it. And as a coach, I can mark it as complete if he does it. And I can change what the value is just to kind of reflect like, hey, this is what you did. That's cool or whatnot. But I'm going to leave it for now. And I'm going to create a new training session. Now, this one, I am going to talk about how I enjoyed the validations and all that, because I actually really, I think one of my favorite things about this project was learning how to use validations with React Bootstrap. So we're going to do a squat sesh. We're going to have some stuff in the description. And we're going to add an exercise. One thing I really liked about this, I was really proud of this, was that you can you know, you can keep adding these ad nauseum, and you can remove them off the back. And this is kind of similar. This is also kind of a stack format. We have an array of objects, and for each one that we add, we have, you know, form data for this array of objects, because our training session has many exercise line items just as like a way to store it in the database. So we're gonna, you know, we're gonna do some squats, something else. We're gonna do 2 sets. Whoops, we forgot to put reps down, but we're gonna do whatever weight, and we're gonna do, whoops, we forgot to add the rest. We're gonna say most squats, but we forgot to say stuff about it. We're gonna do that, and we're gonna submit it. It's a really crappy form as it is. We're gonna try to submit it, and I'll feature this later, but I was really happy with the way this worked out. But this is basically creating 2 data structures that sit in tandem. And so when you try to submit it, it goes through a procedural check to see if anything's wrong. And then it goes in and indexes the right item to make sure that it, you know, it worked, that you put in the right stuff. So we're gonna put in some stuff just to make it work. Our session was created, congratulations. And now we have a squat sesh. And as you see, this is kind of our like workout that you would see and you'd take with you to the gym. So that's great. We're going to check back in on our other side here. Looks like we no longer have a pending agreement. We have a coach, Tony Horton, and we have a workout. So this is great. So I want to take this to the gym. So I'm actually going to, I'm old school, I'm going to take a printout. So I'm going to pop this down in here, and I'm going to take this printout to the gym with me. This is using just a really lightweight platform called React to PDF. All it does is take a snapshot of something that I define as a ref, which in this case is this modal. Honestly, if I was to go any further with this, I would take that out completely and I'd use the Rails PDF kit, because I didn't really like the graininess of this. I didn't really like how it turned out, but I wanted to make sure that I still demoed that fundamental idea. With the PDF kit in the back end, you can actually do the full Rails view system, HTML and CSS, to style this and make it look a lot neater. And so that's kind of like alongside with storing images, that's kind of another thing I want to incorporate later. But in the meantime, you know, it's fine. We can take it to the gym with us. And we did the workout, and it was okay, but it needed more squats for my liking. So I'm going to submit that. And great. So we rated it. So we got 3 out of 5 biceps. That's pretty chill. And that's good. It's finalized. And, you know, consequently, Tony's going to check in with me, and, okay, like, you know, he didn't like it that much. It was pretty good. And, you know, it needed more squats. Okay. Well, that makes sense. So that's cool. That's like pretty much it. As you can see, as we add training sessions, it removes them from here. That's pretty straightforward. I'd really like to add in something like what Clayton had with being able to use like a payment system for this. But I hadn't even considered that with this yet, but that's actually a really cool thing to add. But one like kind of glaring flaw that you can see like right off the bat right here is, other than the built-in places to like leave reviews and kind of like, you know, like sign up your agreement, there's really no way to talk to your like your client or your coach in real time with the platform. You'd have to kind of seek them out in other ways. So my, you know, biggest stretch goal that I am really pleased with how it turned out was took a page out of Clay's book, and I incorporated a little action cable magic. So I'm going to reach out to Tony. I feel bad for giving him a 3-star review. So I'm going to say, great workout, Tony. And on this side, actually, I need to do a little magic here that I wasn't supposed to have to show you, but we're going to do it again. Great workout, Tony. And we're going to get a response that happens every time. There's nothing I have to fix about that. But anyway, so that's just a nice little React Bootstrap push or a toast notification. That one, I will say, I did this morning. I had no intention of doing that, and I ended up doing that this morning. But the bigger piece of that is, wow, I saw this toast. I'm going to go reach out to my boy Bilbo. Great workout, Tony. Awesome. Glad you liked it. And so we got our not so inconspicuous Facebook style messenger application. So totally unique branding. But anyway, we're just going to keep adding a bunch of messages here because I want to show one of the other things I kind of liked about this was the just kind of like the responsiveness of it. I was looking into ways to get to scroll in real time, and I was pretty happy with the way that it turned out. So you get like, you know, your timestamps, your messages, and your and it scrolls with you as you go. I can, let's see, control copy, CV. Let's get some spacing in there. So you can send like a really long message, and you know, like it wraps, it doesn't like go off the page. That actually took a little bit to add, but yeah, that's pretty much it. It's got some validations on length, so it can only be up to 250 characters. It'll cut you off. And yeah, that's really long and short of it as far as the application goes. Again, I really was hoping to, my big goal actually from day one was I didn't know I was going to do this. I was actually going to do more of like a feed system, more like, you know, you'd get notifications when you have like new agreements or like when you get new workouts as a client, like you'd get different things depending on what account you had. But this ended up being like a better, I was just really happy about this. And then the PDF one, that like I thought was going to take a lot longer, but ended up only taking like an hour because the system that React to PDF does is super light. You just create a ref to a point, and then you just, when you click a button, it just sends it. So that was really easy. Yeah, all I'll really show, I didn't really have a whole lot to demo from the code end. Really just, I mean, it's very similar to, I think, what was done with Clay's project, their group project in phase 4. But you bring in the action cable, you set up your consumer to point to the place that you designated on the back end, and then you use this context to just kind of wrap. I wrapped the nav bar because all the functionality was just tied to the nav bar. I didn't need like my entire app to have access to a WebSocket. So that was neat. The chat feed, the way this works is actually the chat feed subscribes to the specific user agreement on the messages channel. And all the chat feed does is it sends messages. It doesn't actually receive them. So all you're doing is sending messages based on the agreement you have. But then on each of these line items here, so like you saw Tony had a few more of these, for each one of those line items, we create another subscription to the message channel. And that one is the one that receives the payload. So that's why we can get toast notifications from any one of the clients, is because they create one for each of these list items. There's its own cable subscription. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. And then obviously it adds it to the Redux store, and that's what brings it around and displays it on the chat feed. So that's pretty much it. Again, the thing I got most excited about in this project was honestly form validations. I was just really happy to see this thing work, because this probably took the longest, was on that form. I already closed it out. On that form, when you create like another exercise, it just adds an object to this kind of like array stack. But it creates both workout item stack and like a workout item errors object. And then we just keep track of the indices to make sure that we're updating it in the right place. Seemed pretty simple, but then ended up also being kind of a bother to deal with. But it ended up working. See, we index it when we update the workout items. We bring in only the errors specific to that workout items index. So that way, you know, you could add infinity workout items and it would still set the errors in the right place. Yeah, I don't really have anything else to show. I know we're going over a lot, so I'll leave it up to any questions. Choose your own adventure if there's any code you want to see or anything like that.
Awesome work.
Wait, Alec, so wait, did you use a library to create those chat windows, or how did you do that?
So the chat window itself, that was self-styled. It was just a combination of Bootstrap and just elbow grease and vanilla CSS. But it was the connection that goes between the front and the back end, the WebSocket. That's Action Cable, which is built into Rails. That's like, you don't have to do anything. You just set up the connection. You just have to create channels for everywhere. Like I had a messages channel and that was it. And then you use the Action Cable on the front end to like access that and then to use it.
That is super impressive. Well done.
Thank you.